And we are live. Welcome to the LCJC family channel. And we are going to go over the Talcott tales. Can I get a thumbs up if y'all can hear me? Because I'm trying something new tonight. Can somebody in the chat give me a thumbs up? Let me know if you can hear me. That'd be great. Any of you guys? Let's see. Can you guys hear me out there? Hello, hello. How about now? Can y'all hear me now? Should I go and come back in? Can you hear me, Planet X? I had on my headphones. It's easier for me to hear when people are in the chat, but nobody was answering me. Oh, well, there you are. Hello. I asked you to come in the back room so I can check. I'm going to try and put it back on and tell me if you can hear me because y'all wasn't in the room. I thought I sent text messages. All right, hold on. I'm going to put this back on and then you guys, guess who just went live, Snaps? Scheduled it for exactly when I went live. Yep, you got it. Same one I'm going to do that video on that I told you about. That backstabbing traitor. It's all right. She's going to get hers. All right. Can you guys hear me still? Let me know if you can still hear me because I can hear better with the headphones on. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Hi, Margot. Have I got a show tonight? It's going to be fun. Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys can hear me. It's just I can hear better when I have this headset on. And without it, it's, you guys will hear my dogs in the background. And she's being a whiny little baby today. And I don't know why. She's 6-month-old German Shepherd. And she's just being a brat today. Okay. So, really quick, I'm going to have a little chit chat with y'all. Y'all mind if I have a little chit chat? Oh, Margot. Is that the real Margot or is that the fake Margot? Oh, Mystic. Oh, well, we're not going to say on this channel, but Snaps can text you, okay, if he wants to. But I'll be doing a video on that person here soon because they really ticked me off, Mystic. But Margot, is that really Margot Snaps or is that the fake Margot? I talked to you earlier today, Margot, but you were evidently a fake one. I felt real stupid. Anyway, just really brief for all of you that watch my channel. I want to tell you what my channel is not, okay? My channel is not a channel up for debate, meaning do not come on my channel to go against me, to go against anything that I speak about Marfugal TV and news, because I know my shit. I know what I'm talking about. Excuse my French. I don't cuss a lot, but every now and then I get a little ticked off because some people think that my channel is a channel where you can come up and debate my truths because I was a head mod on his channel and I know what I'm talking about. The things I speak about on Jack are things I observed, things I have heard through people he has worked with. He has not refuted anything other than he's just following God. I'm just giving my perception of what I feel and what I see on his channel. Okay. I don't need anybody coming up on my channel debating me on my beliefs, on what I think is true. You have your truth and I have mine, and I'm entitled to it. So if anybody wants to come up here because they want to ask me a question on something I might have said, Sometimes I misspeak. When I misspeak, I apologize. You can ask Mystic. I've apologized to other people when I misspeak. They're called mistakes, and everybody does it. But a lot of the things that I speak about Jack, I'm I'm just reacting to videos and audios that are coming up. And from what I've seen of Jack, my channel is not a channel to debate. Now, if Snaps wants to come up here and debate Tarek or debate somebody else, I'll let them go at it. And sometimes I'll step in because I want to ask Snaps a question or somebody a question. But do not think that my channel is one of the channels like those guys, like Paul Enslaved, like OTW, or Talcott, any of those channels where all them guys get up there and they go at each other. That is not my channel. My channel is a truther channel. I tell the truth. I tell everything that happened on Marful Good TV and News that I was involved in. I told the truth about everything, good and bad. And I'm telling the truth about my truth about Jack. I'm not trying to hurt Jack. I know he thinks we're all trying to hurt him. From what I understand, from what I see, nobody's trying to hurt him. People are trying to wake him up. They're like grabbing his shoulders and shaking the ass out of him, telling him to wake up. Look what you're doing with your life, dude. And to me, that's love. It's hard love, but it's love. He doesn't see it that way, though. Him and other people, they all think that everyone's attacking him, when in fact they're all trying to tell him, dude, you can get your job back. You can go back and get your job. You can straighten out your life. You don't have to be living in your sister's basement, dude. I see a lot of people reaching out to him, even Snaps. I got some recordings. We're going to watch some stuff. And I'm going to show you who Snaps is. Who Snaps is when he calls him in private on the telephone. Because the same conversation you're about to hear in a little bit is the same thing that goes on when we're on the phone. And Snaps is asking him, hey, are you warm tonight? Do you have a place? Are you safe when he was on his ride to his sister's house? Talcott calls Snaps all the time. You guys don't know any of this. I do. So we're going to go over the last two Talcott tale videos or audios. And then I want to show you some other videos that I've come across where Jack blatantly lies. Today he called Pixel out, called her a liar. Flat out said she was lying. Well, Pixel, I don't know if you're in here or not, or if any of y'all know her, but I'm going to show you that Pixel is not a liar. Yep, Jack, you're the liar. Now, I've caught another lie before too. And Jeeps, called Jeeps a liar. We're going to go over that too. We're going to go over that one because although I do believe that, that I'm not a women's lib or anything like that, I'm pro men. However, I am a girl's girl. And those two girls you lied on, Jack, and I'm going to vindicate them tonight. Who's in my pet set? Hey, Margo,
Hey.
how are you?
Well, I'm pretty lit up. I'm pretty ready to go.
Are you?
Well, here,
Am I?
do you want to show some video or can I get this off my chest because I've been pissed about it for quite a while.
You get it off your chest, sister.
Okay. So I guess I'm not pissed. But so little background, I was introduced to Catholicism at 5 years old. I went through first Catholicism, went all through CCD, blah, 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 blah. At 12 years old, I told my priest, I was an angry, soon to be teenager. I told him where to go and what I thought of his church. And he recommended that I don't come to his church, but please go to others. Keep God in your heart. If you believe in Jesus Christ, go to Christian church. If you've decided to not to forever or for now, go to other churches. And so I did. I did non-denominational. I went to the synagogue for a while. I went with my Mormon friends. I went with my LDS friends. I went to Seventh Day Adventists, and then I got one of my or both my masters from a Presbyterian college, and when I was at that Presbyterian college I would go to Presbyterian church, so I think I've kind of covered my bases, right? Well,
Right.
today I was doing some work, and I listened to Jack. And Jack said that after he goes to Washington, D.C., he's going to go to the Vatican, and he's going to knock on that door, and he's going to talk to the people at that church about Jesus Christ. Well,
Lord,
I don't know about you, but when I went to explore different churches, I didn't go up to the ministers or the priests or the
yeah,
leaders, the bishops, and say that I was going to talk to them about Jesus Christ.
you
So,
don't do that.
our Jack that is all about love and acceptance and loving everybody. I don't know who he's kidding or who he thinks he is kidding, but if anyone out there believes that a man can walk up as a stranger to a church and tell those people about their beliefs or about their beliefs being wrong, is fucking crazy.
So, Margot, when
Yes.
he comes back this time, what's he coming back to do? Our Father, what's he coming back to do? He's coming back to kill and destroy. He's not
Yeah.
coming back with love, Jack.
Yeah.
He's coming back to kill and destroy. Read your Bible, it's in there.
Yes.
He's not coming back to spread love. That was the first time. That was with the apostles. He was teaching us what to do. He was teaching us that we need to, tell everyone about him. But this time, Jack, he's not coming with love. He's coming to kill and destroy. Jack
And-
don't,
oh,
it's not that Jack don't read the Bible. He just don't read the Bible. He's got his own he when people were calling him a guru and stuff, I wasn't sure, but I'm sure now because one of the clips where Snaps is actually talking to him,
yes.
you can clearly see he puts up a oh man, I don't think I pulled that one up. Anyway, he pulls up a scripture or not a scripture, he pulls up something out of some logic book. But on the top left corner it says Hebrews something. But what he's reading is out of some other book. And Snaps calls him out on it. I had all the markers down and I got them all back up, except now that we're talking about that. That one I didn't pull up, but maybe I can find it as we're going. And he clearly says Hebrews something or whatever the scripture was. And then, but he's reading something else and Snaps calls him out on it. And he says, dude, you can't do that, dude. You're twisting scripture. And I went to change the time on my video to play it at 9 instead of 8, and I lost all my markers. So I had to go and find them all again in like the last half hour. And I just remember that one, and it's not there. But he totally is preaching his own gospel,
Well,
Jack.
another thing, I know a lot of teachers from Colville, Washington, where Jack went to school. And I'm not a decade older than Jack, but I'm older than Jack. And so I knew some of those teachers. Jack did not do well in school. Did he graduate high school? I don't know. I'm not going to say he did. I'm not going to say he didn't because I don't know that for sure, but he did not do well. And so I don't know if Jack can comprehend. I don't even know how well Jack can read. I mean, when he says
I
he's got this education and he's went out there and read all these things, I think he listens. I think he listens to YouTube and things that he pulls up. So when he's reading, uh, it- we're not talking about a man with a full deck.
yeah. See, I went through high school, and in my senior year, my parents decided they were going to go on a European tour for a month, and they left me the car. Big mistake. Huge. I didn't go to school for a whole month. I didn't graduate with my friends. So I had to go to school another year to get my diploma, which I did. I got my high school, not a GED, got my high school diploma. And then I ended up going to college, 2 years, and then I became an officer. And anyway,
And I'm
fast
not
forward.
putting anyone down that
No, no, I know you're
chooses
not. I
not
know
to.
you're not.
I mean,
No, I
I've
know
got
you're not.
I've got aunts and uncles that never graduated even high
Right.
school. I
Right.
don't
I don't.
call them losers, but I'm talking about
Right.
the intellect of Jack Talcott.
No, I get it because I see the
Yes,
same thing you see. I'm
yes,
I'm just showing that if that was the route that Jack went down, he missed a year there. It's fine. It happens to everybody, but some of us still come out with all of our cookies intact. Okay. Like, I
And we
mean,
don't
I
and we
started
don't
own.
claim and we don't claim to have this education. You know, we don't
No, I don't.
claim to know things and know so
No,
much and be so
no.
informed.
A lot of our learning is by who we're around. I mean, when I said I catered with my mom from the age of 17 to 42, who was I around? I was around politicians. I was around a lot of educated people. I can hold a conversation with the president if I need to. I can hold a conversation with the person on the street. Doesn't matter. Even people, street people, they're pretty smart. But I
Yes.
mean, I can hold a conversation with anybody, and I might not use a lot of the, words that they teach you in college and all of that because I don't know, I just tend to normalize my language. I don't think it's necessary to use. Some people get off on using words that aren't common. I don't. I think it's stupidity. To me, that's stupidity. It's like, come on, you're just trying to show that you're something that, whatever. But I'm just saying that we all have had our lots in life. But
Yes.
I do not see Jack playing with the full deck. His noodles are missing. They're not cooked all the way. I'm thinking,
Another thing,
So
and then I'm gonna unpanel for a while and just enjoy your show. um I heard a lot of backpedaling today too. Oh, some people said that I just walked away from my job. Some people say I just walked away from my family. So it's now like he knows that he's being caught, and people know that he did walk away from that job.
yeah,
um
he did.
I don't I Snaps has much more of the information about when he went to court for his son and all of that information, but I'm seeing some backpedaling. But to your point, you're right. A lot of people have tried to help Jack, me included, and some people might say that I haven't. Maybe some people say I have a way of being brutally honest. Yes, I do, and I'm fine with that.
Well,
Anyway,
the
that's
first
my
time I
two.
heard you, the first time I heard you on panel was when you were talking about um chemo and the rape and everything, or it was before that. Um, you came on talking about something about oh God, who were you talking about? Was it Flow State?
I don't
You on
know.
Snap channel. Anyway, you were talking about something. Anyway, I think it was Flow State. I'm not sure about him putting pictures up about Leslie or something. About what's that girl? You got
Oh,
pictures and
Lindsay,
put them up?
Lindsay, Lindsay.
Lindsay, yeah. And you were speaking, people that tell the truth, there's not a skip in their step. So you I think I have a pretty good gauge of people. But I don't judge them. I just get a gauge of them. And my gauge of you was that you were honest, you didn't have a skip in your step. When they talk, when other people they have when people lie, they can't keep up with their lives and their skips and their steps. They pause a lot. They 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 try to remember what they're going to say. Not like when I'm pausing, talking with you. They're trying to remember the story they told. Where you weren't trying to memorize nothing, you were just blaring it out, boom, 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 boom,
Mhm.
boom. So my perception of you was somebody that was honest, very, very not forward, but very if you're telling the truth, you're telling the truth, and you don't make no bones about it. So Jack can't handle that. And I noticed when you're on panel, when I try to get on panel, even when he came on my panel, and when that other girl, what was the other one? The one that I accidentally yelled at the last time. What was her name? Dorothy or What was her name?
Daisy, Daisy.
Daisy. Daisy. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I felt so bad because I just saw a few minutes and I just saw them all cussing. I didn't
Mhm.
know what about or anything, so I felt bad that I, said anything to her because, you know, I shouldn't have, but I just saw what I saw. But, he kicks girls off the panels. But you notice when the boys are cussing him out, when the guys are being mean and nasty and cussing, he leaves them up there. He entertains it.
Well, and
But
he has a history of doing that. He loves to try to, he's a pussy with women. He tries to intimidate us, or play big man, and it's over. And he can do that on his panel. He can be the mod god. Um, but Snafu tried. No, Yuma Tommy tried to do a debate with Jack and I one time, and Jack lasted less than 2 minutes. He's gone. He's gone. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm going to step down. I'm going to enjoy your show. If I feel compelled, I'll come back up. But it's great to see you again. And I will talk to you soon.
Good talking to you, Margot. Okay, we'll talk soon.
Perfect.
Okay, so thank you, Margot, for coming up. And yeah, the real truth. I hear you. I hear you. Like you talk regular and stuff, and but inside your mind's going a little bananas because there's a lot more in there. Yeah, I get you. Totally get you. Okay, so we are going to play the first Talcott Tales. It was number 21. You might have already seen these on Snap's channel, but I'm going to go ahead and respond to that. Now, I'm just showing my perception or what I feel is happening during it. Okay, so nobody get their panties in a bunch. All right, and here we go.
All snaps for crew, the optics are high, the optics are high. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the series of Jacktales. Woohoo! Anyways, we're gonna get into some of the optics of the true stories of Jack Talcott in this mini-series, Jacktales. Folks, we're going to start off and we'll randomly throw some stuff out to look at the optics in play. Then, of course, we'll have Jack, if he wants to say what he wants to say about the optics that we're witnessing versus what he's told us over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help me and the crew out, Snafu Snaps PayPal or Snafu Snap 007 Cash App. But most of all, keep being you, the crew, the glue. And remember, the optics are high. Let's get into Jacktales, the audio calls.
Yeah, that's great advice from a union man. Are you a fucking union man or are you a pussy, Brian? I belong to a union, so I don't have to fucking beg.
That's working out well for you. I'm employed, Jack. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm mentally stable, Jack.
I represented myself through step one, but unfortunately, due to the decisions of my local officers, I had no right to carry my grievance beyond that. So once that happens, all of my livelihood is in the hands of my union representatives based upon the decisions that they made. But what should I do different, Brian? Should I call well, I can't even get an answer as to the status of my grievance from my union rep, Brian, so maybe I should just quit. Should I just resign? Maybe go get a job at a fast food place, and then you're right. I shouldn't even pursue my nonprofit. Fuck helping anybody else. I've got no future to help anybody. I should just go find a fucking job and go flip burgers or something so I can try and earn a meager living and hope to fucking retire and enjoy my life one day. Is that your advice to me, Brian? Oh, that's right. A union guy told me I should go beg.
Okay.
He didn't tell me to go to fast food. He told me to beg like a pussy, just like fucking Margot said I should do. Go beg. I'm a goddamn man.
Go apologize. I wouldn't actually beg.
Who have I not apologized to, Brian?
Okay,
Who have I not apologized to? You tell me stuff like you know. You don't fucking know.
Here's what I would do, Jack. Are you there? What?
I'm listening, and it's your floor. Please.
Here's what I would do. I would get in touch with somebody within the Postal Service. Jim Sykes, somebody in your senior plant manager, Jim Sykes, somebody within the Postal Service. Mm-hmm. Ask for a meeting.
Yeah.
And if you can get a meeting, maybe with them and JR or some steward, sit down and say, look, I've made some mistakes in the past. I realized my behavior has been out of line. But I believe I can be a valuable asset to the Postal Service and that my record should be kept in mind. and that I should be brought back. And I promise not to.
Brian.
I promise not to.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But I want to share with you a couple of experiences that I have experienced and witnessed. Okay, so the first one was in November when I spoke with a bankruptcy attorney, and they told me that I could save my home if I could prove a source of income. Okay, so right after that meeting with them, I might be mistaken on the dates, but right around that time, I went in for my AWOL investigation with I think it was my president at the time, and they investigated me for AWOL, and Brian, I know the rules. People act like Jack doesn't know the fucking rules, but so in my AWOL investigation, when asked, are you aware what AWOL recorded on your record will do? I said, yes, I absolutely understand what effect the choice of a supervisor who disregards the medical condition of an employee and makes the choice, because it is a supervisor's choice of how they record an absence. So yes, Jim, when my supervisor chooses to disregard my medical condition and record my absence as AWOL, I certainly understand the effect that can have on my record. Okay, so that was the AWOL investigation. So back to my point, when I found out that I could possibly save my home, I felt relieved. I spoke to my counselor at the time and I said, Renee, will you please clear me back to work? I said, I give up. I don't need reasonable accommodation. And that's what I did too. I went to work and I said, hey guys, great news. Since I'm going bankrupt, since I don't have a business, the only reason I needed accommodation was because I just needed some clear instructions. How could I come to work as a postal employee and a business owner without being accused? Because Brian,
yeah,
I know how absurd it is. Okay. I know the odds are insurmountable. But from my perspective, the problem I encounter over and over and over that I've not yet figured out how to overcome is people respond to me based on perceptions of me. Okay? My request for reasonable accommodation, what they gave me is, they gave me a reasonable accommodation. It says you may return to work and just don't do anything that could be perceived as promoting your business.
Perfect.
Well, oh, really? Is that perfect?
Absolutely. Why didn't you just jump on that?
Okay. Well, here's my problem, and that's a fair question. That is the exact position that our employer, and it might be our union, is taking.
You didn't take that?
Here's why I opposed it. Now, this was before my bankruptcy, okay? But the reason I oppose the perception thing is I cannot control other people's perceptions. That's something I learned in AA. So
all you'd have to do is go to work and just keep your mouth shut.
Yep. Well, so initially, admittedly,
mindfulness does not come out your lips.
God damn it, may I? So, yes, you're right. That is one thing I could have cowered, and that was what I said, too. That was one of my thoughts. I can go to work.
Jack, is that being a coward, accepting that reasonable rule that you don't promote your business or anything that could even be...
Do you care to hear why I objected to it, or do you just care to believe that you are right?
Go on, Jack.
Okay,
you're never wrong.
Am I ever right? I'm just asking to be right once in a while. I'm asking that my views
you seem to think you're right
once in a while.
No, you insist on your position being accepted as fact all the time. And any
I
challenge to
never,
that.
I never bend, and I never say, "Oh shit, you might be right." I never, ever, ever, ever
Yeah.
do.
The one thing that I've learned about Jack, and Jack, this is my perception. And if it's my perception, it's probably a lot of people's perception. You have a hard time being wrong. Like, you can't apologize for when you're wrong. But put that aside, you can't even say when you're wrong. You think you're right about everything. And you could tell by your movements when you're sitting there in the panel or in your chair, the way your movements, oh my goodness, you display your whole body movements are all about you. And you're very vocal and visual when you don't like what other people are saying, whether they're right or not. You are always right. You have a hard time accepting when you're wrong.
Do that, Brian?
Not in 4.5 hours of conversation. You haven't.
Hmm.
Okay. Why didn't you take that reasonable accommodation offer? Don't talk about your business.
The initial reason was this. This was how I viewed it. And we had this conversation last time as well. When I went to DC, I offered no product, no service, no contract. I applied for a promotion. Now, the attorney perceived my actions as criminal.
Okay.
I tried locally. I offered to do a free presentation off the clock in the lunchroom. The topic, without promoting my business, the
Well,
topic that I did.
It kind of is. It kind of is, though.
Well, it depends on what you might define as my business, because my business, while it is speaking, teaching, coaching, the products were, I no longer have access because I've dissolved my business, but the products were, there's 6 different products that I was authorized to take people through, not my programs created by people like Tony Robbins. Okay. So it wasn't Jack's program that I was going to coach anybody through. I was just going to be a motivator and a facilitator. And since I've already been qualified and trained as a facilitator, not only for the Postal Service, but also through the Washington State Labor Council, I actually felt that being a life coach in this manner was probably right up my fucking alley. So
Jack can't even facilitate his own life, as you can tell. Y'all know he's homeless. Hey, Jules, how you doing? I'm welcome. Jack can't even facilitate his own life. He's homeless right now. And I think he's on his way to Washington or something. I don't know. I heard him say that, and then he skipped a step and changed the subject. So maybe he doesn't want no one to know he's going there. But Jack, you can't talk about the things you want to talk about at a trash company, let alone the Postal Service. You were just trying to find a way around it. Okay. You're like, I'm not sewing a sweater. I'm making a blanket. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, Jack. You can't do that. What you're not picking up, what they're putting down, is you cannot do your guru crap at a government agency, let alone any company, because there's always going to be that one person that doesn't want to hear it. And because they're all in the workplace, you cannot discuss it. And do I wish God was in every building? Yes. Is it the world we live in? No, it is not. So you're just trying to find a way around it, and you're trying to dance around this guy on the phone. That's Brian. You're trying to dance around him by saying, I didn't want to talk about my business. I just wanted to talk about this. It's the same thing, Jack. Apples and oranges, but it's fruit. It's the same thing. You're not picking up what your friends are putting down. I've, like I said, I don't want your channel, but I've gone through and I've watched bits and pieces of a lot of your videos. Okay. And Jack, I know you think everyone's against you, Jack. I'm not against you. I woke up in 2016 too, like you heard me say before. And as a matter of fact, Jack, I talked to my mom today. Yep, she called me and we talked. And she goes, "Do you know that this is happening right now?" And I said, "Yeah. When I told you about it back in 2016, you thought I was crazy." She goes, "You were right." I said, "I know." And I talked to her about God, and I talked to her about how to hear his voice. And that you don't hear voices in your head, Jack. If you hear voices in your head, those are demons. Okay? Father doesn't talk to us that way. Anyway, I talked to her about that, and I said, a lot of us are hearing from him, but it's through our spirit. And I can explain it to you, but you have to do your own searching. And if you really want to hear from him, he'll teach you. But everything that I told her is now coming to pass, and she's like blown away. She's like, "How'd you know?" And I said, "How do you think I knew?" See, but I tried to tell him back then in 2016, they didn't want to hear it. I sounded crazy, just like you sound now. Nobody wants to hear it. And it's not a sin. The Father knows this. He says they hated him first. They're going to hate us. They're not going to believe us. He's after the one. He's after the one lost sheep and then the other lost sheep. And that's what we're all out here for, to plant the seeds and hopefully to get a sheep to come home. We're not out there trying to shove it down people's throats. And that's what you're trying to do. I said this in my last video. You're trying to shove it down people's throats. And you can't do it. Now, listen, if you were on the money, if you were worth the money, if you can do what you think you can do, which you can't, Jack, I'm sorry. This is a hard truth. You cannot do what you think you can do. You are not a speaker. Your hand gestures, when I see your hand gestures, when you put your thumb and your finger together and you wave your hand over and out, look what you're doing. It's a 666. That's number one. You don't even know you're doing it. But the way you do stuff like that, it's just the movement. To me, when I see that, I cringe. I cringe for you. I see phony. Somebody trying too hard. When you close your eyes and then you smile and you move your head to the right and to the left, kind of like you're swaying it, I see phony. I don't know where you learn your antics from, but whoever you learned them from, whoever you were watching, you learned wrong. You should have just let your natural beauty show, because we all have it from the Father. But when you try and copy other people, it's always going to come out as fake. And that's what I see from you. None of the movements you make do I perceive your own. They're all fake movements. They're all learned gestures. You learn to move your hands like that. And when I see it, Jack, I cringe. So do other people. Unless they're asleep. The sleepers will follow you all day long because they don't know any better. But those of us that are awake, I mean, we see through all of it. But it's not in you, Jack. You're not going to be a Tony Robbins. I've seen that guy. I mean, he's captivating. The dude's almost 7 feet tall. He's huge. He's handsome. Not to say you're not. I think you're a handsome man. But he's captivating when he speaks. His clarity is non-skip. He doesn't sit there and everything that when he's standing there walking on the stage, everything about him is exhilarating. It's vibrant. It's him. He speaks what he knows. You sound like you're reaching for every syllable. I'm not trying to hurt you, Jack. I'm not. I know you're not going to listen to me any more than you listen to Charles or Brian or Margot or Maria or any of those people that worked with you. You think everyone's attacking you. Nobody's attacking you, Jack. They all want you to stop all of this, get your job back. Charles, you said some pretty nasty things about Charles. You called them names. Charles wants to smoke a doobie with you and hang out. Do you not hear him? I hear him. He wants you to chill out and be his buddy again. Margot's wanting you just not to be homeless. Maria just wants you to get your job back and be normal. Brian is screaming from the rooftops to shake you up to stop all this garbage. Because when you have the Father, you don't need to shove it down people's throats. You plant little seeds here and there, Jack. All right, I'm gonna shut up. Here we go.
I got to tell you though, at this point, that sounds like a blatantly crossing of the line. You want to put on a promotion, you want to do a pep talk at work, and it just happens to coincide with your goals as a businessman.
Okay. Yes, you can project your
I'm not projecting shit, Jack. I'm just giving you my honest take on
how about this?
How that looks.
I'll take what you're doing as playing devil's advocate. How about that?
No, I'm not even doing that.
Well,
What if you wait a minute? What if you were a Mary Kay cosmetic salesperson and you offered to put on a beauty seminar? I'm not selling any of my Mary Kay products. I'm just doing a beauty seminar on how to make yourself more attractive. That's way too close to your line of work for it to not be a conflict, Jack.
All right.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's too close to your goal.
That is one way of looking at it, Brian.
It's a reasonable way of looking at it.
That is one reasonable way of looking at it. Please allow me to present what I consider to be a different reasonable way of looking at it. The way that I saw it was this was all happening right around the same time as I was trying to, actually I'd reached out to the Revolutionary Love Project. I was trying to get involved with their organization. They're a national organization of peace. And so the woman who started that is actually who inspired me to become a speaker. And so I was trying to do the speaking thing. I met with the folks in DC. And again, Brian, this is very, very early in my journey. I did not know even a percentage of what I know now. So I'd met with them in DC. I was pursuing speaking with trying to find a place to support revolutionary love. And then at the same time, I already had life coaches of my own who were working with me. And so they said to me, Jack, if you want to be a speaker, get out and speak. So they're right. And I shared this with you last time. Originally, I was like, well, I can go to the bus station, or maybe I'll contact a local HR and see if I can come in and do a little presentation there. But then I thought, I'm not going to charge. Why not see if I can do it at work? And then I'll share knowledge because I know there's value in this. And so I presented it to my plant manager. I said, Brian, can I do a little presentation, corner of the lunchroom, either as shift ends or leaves everyone off the clock. Just a quick little lunch and learn, 30 minutes roughly about here's what mindfulness is and meditation and how to put it into your practice. So let's compare this rather than Mary Kay, because Mary Kay is a very specific thing. And while mine is very general, I think a better, more accurate comparison might be if someone came in and gave a class, if the Postal Service allowed it. If someone came in and gave a class to the fellow employees, said, hey guys, here's how you change the oil in your car.
And they own an auto shop. He can be a mechanic, and he can be a mechanic and own an auto shop and come in and say, guy, no mention of his business. That's still, or even say, hey, I've been doing this for a while. This is some of the stuff I know, and here's how you do it yourself. I would still see a conflict with that. All right, that's fine.
You know it's allowed at work, Jack? To take your daughter's Girl Scout cookies or those little candy bars they sell, those white, skinny, long candy bars they sell at the schools. Put them up on the reception's desk with your name, the child that it's for, and your coworkers can buy Girl Scout cookies or Boy Scout popcorn or candy from the school. That's allowed. That's not a conflict of interest. You could do something like that, but you cannot go in there and do the guru stuff that you want to do, but you're not picking up what these guys are putting down.
Okay. I didn't see it as a big conflict.
Jack,
however, please,
Jack,
don't argue with me about what I see.
Okay, no, I want to ask a question though.
Okay.
Because you told me a lot of this before. You then held an event, right? I think at a Unitarian church.
Off-site,
Off-site, completely off the books, or completely violating no ethics rules.
Right.
And and how many people showed up to your event that I think you said you expected like 200 or 500?
Yeah, well.
And how many showed up?
I bought refreshments for 100, and there was a total of 10 people, Brian.
Okay, so is my whacked out theory that you're not going to make it as a life coach all that unrealistic, given you're not exactly off to a rocket start here, right?
Well,
you printed up flyers, you did everything you could to drum up business, and you got. May
I throw a different fucking idea at you? Because I've been working with other coaches. I've actually had experience speaking with other speakers and coaches and learning of their experiences.
Do they talk?
And actually, some of the feedback I got.
Do they talk?
Some of the feedback I got, Brian, is 10 people for your first speech. Fucking great job. Good work,
Jack. When you talk to these guys.
Yeah.
Don't you ever get the impression that they're fucking just selling you a dream? That they're going to profit from trying to rope you into being. You said you had an agent, but that she quit being your agent because you ran out of money. Dude, you're being sold a fucking bill of goods. You're not going to be a public speaker.
Brian.
You're not going to be a public speaker, Jack.
Thanks for your support. Can I fucking tell you my side?
Your side, Jack, is so self-pity. Poor me. I've been persecuted by everybody.
Oh, I thought I was a lunatic.
Well, to hear some people say it, sure. I've heard several claims of violence.
Oh, so I'm back to being a victim now?
Well, you seem to think you're being persecuted by everybody, top to bottom. Except those people will return your call.
Prove me wrong. How about that? Prove I'm not.
Prove you're not what?
Prove I'm not being persecuted. Give me evidence that says, Jack, you are not being persecuted, regardless if I deserve it or not. Prove I'm not.
You're being held accountable for your own actions.
I am. By whom?
You've made the bed that you are now having to lie in.
Okay, so I deserve Charles and John.
You deserve every fucking thing you're getting.
Hold on. The night before I meet the postmaster to plead for my job, and I post on Facebook, guys, will you please support me? You're saying I deserve Charles and John Wald attacking my character and my credibility, urging other people not to support Jack Talcott. That is exactly what I deserved, Brian.
If I don't even know about that, but if Charles and John both said that, I put more stock in what they say, and I think of them as more stand-up guys that will tell you to tell the truth. Yeah. What do you think? Charles is just some anti-union guy who wants to fucking bury you for no goddamn reason?
No.
Okay,
Brian.
So maybe you fucking earned that.
Brian. Maybe I earned it a year ago.
Jack,
do I earn it? Have I earned it today? When do people let shit go? When do they say, you know what, Jack, can we give you a new chance?
When you stop fucking yelling at me every other goddamn paragraph. You could barely fucking hold your cool when your Christian buddy was standing right next to you. You stormed off a couple times even then.
Yep.
So when you change your fucking demeanor, when you change your demeanor back to the Jack Talcott that we all knew and loved, then people will give you a fucking chance. But something,
Brian,
and
Brian, you see this fucking circle, this catch-22? When Jack does this, then we'll do this.
Yeah.
How about this? How do I get you to fucking...
You get the respect that you earn. And right now you fucking burned every bridge you fucking...
So how do I get past that? What can I do? I've apologized, Brian.
To who?
Oh, that's the answer right now. Yeah. Okay. So that was, I think that was 21. So we are going, Pixel, sister, have I got something for you? I'm going to vindicate you tonight, honey. No one's going to call you no liar. Because he out and out called you a liar. Yes, he did. Yes, Josh. Good to have you here, Pixel. So, we are playing the Talcott Tales. And let me get this other one ready to go. And then I'm going to start showing y'all some truths. Because he lied on Pixel today. He lied on Jeeps. And he's here for the truth. Oh, Jack's going to get some truths thrown in his face. Yes, he is. Because he shouldn't have called you a liar because we all heard him say that it was okay for Snaps to. Well, anyway. All right, let's play this other one. This is the last one. And then we're going to show some stuff. Hold on, let me. All right, let's get through this one. This is the last one.
Oh, snap the crew. The optics are high. The optics are high. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the series of Jacktales. Woohoo! Anyways, we're going to get into some of the optics of the true stories of Jack Talcott in this mini-series, Jacktales. Folks, we're going to start off and we'll randomly throw some stuff out to look at the optics and play. Then, of course, we'll have Jack, if he wants to say what he wants to say about the optics that we're witnessing versus what he's told us over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help me and the crew out, Snafu Snaps PayPal or Snafu Snap 007 Cash App. But most of all, keep being you, the crew, the glue. And remember, the optics are high. Let's get into Jacktales, the audio files.
Washington State Labor Council, I actually felt that being a life coach in this manner was probably right up my fucking alley. So I
got to tell you though, at this point, that sounds like a blatantly crossing of the line. You want to put on a promotion, you want to do a pep talk at work, and it just happens to coincide with your goals as a businessman.
Okay. Yes, you can project your
I'm not projecting shit, Jack. I'm just giving you my honest take on
how about this?
How that looks.
I'll take what you're doing as playing devil's advocate. How about that?
No, I'm not even doing that.
Well,
what if you wait a minute? What if you were a Mary Kay cosmetics salesperson and you offered to put on a beauty seminar? I'm not selling any of my Mary Kay products. I'm just doing a beauty seminar on how to make yourself more attractive. That's way too close to your line of work for it to not be a conflict, Jack.
All right.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's too close to your goal.
That is one way of looking at it, Brian.
It's a reasonable way of looking at it.
That is one reasonable way of looking at it. Please allow me to present what I consider to be a different reasonable way of looking at it. The way that I saw it was this was all happening right around the same time as I was trying to, actually I'd reached out to the Revolutionary Love Project. I was trying to get involved with their organization. They're a national organization of peace. And so the woman who started that is actually who inspired me to become a speaker. And so I was trying to do the speaking thing. I met with the folks in DC. And again, Brian, this is very, very early in my journey. I did not know even a percentage of what I know now. So I'd met with them in DC. I was pursuing speaking with pursuing trying to find a place to support revolutionary love. And then at the same time, I already had life coaches of my own who were working with me. And so they said to me, Jack, if you want to be a speaker, get out and speak. So they're right. And I shared this with you last time. Originally, I was like, well, I can go to the bus station, or maybe I'll contact a local HR and see if I can come in and do a little presentation there. But then I thought, I'm not going to charge. Why not see if I can do it at work? And then I'll share knowledge because I know there's value in this. And so I presented it to my plant manager. I said, Brian, can I do a little presentation, corner of the lunchroom, either as shift ends or leaves everyone off the clock. Just a quick little lunch and learn, 30 minutes roughly about here's what mindfulness is and meditation and how to put it into your practice. So let's compare this rather than Mary Kay, because Mary Kay is a very specific thing. And while mine is very general, I think a better, more accurate comparison might be if someone came in and gave a class, if the Postal Service allowed it. If someone came in and gave a class to the fellow employees, said, hey guys, here's how you change the oil in your car.
And they own an auto shop. He can be a mechanic, and he can be a mechanic and own an auto shop and come in and say, guy, no mention of his business. That's still, or even say, hey, I've been doing this for a while. This is some of the stuff I know, and here's how you do it yourself. I would still see a conflict with that. All right, that's fine. Okay, I didn't see it as a big conflict. Jack, however, please, Jack, don't argue with me about what I see. Okay, no, I want to ask a question though. Okay, because you told me a lot of this before. You then held an event, right? I think at a Unitarian church. Off-site, yes. Completely off the books, or completely violating no ethics rules. Right. Mm-hmm. And you
really quick, Jack, I think you lied about those photos too. I asked you on my stream if you had this made because everyone said you had it made, and you said no, somebody just made it of you. Well, I saw another one of you sitting by a fire, something like that, and you were in Jesus clothes and your face was on Jesus. I think you lied. I don't think you told the truth. I think you did have someone make those of you because you do think you are the second coming. We're going to show that because you called Jeeps a liar. Yes, you did. But I think you lied. I think you had these made. Look at that logo.
And how many people showed up to your event that I think you said you expected like 200 or 500?
Yeah, well.
And how many showed up?
I bought refreshments for 100, and there was a total of 10 people, Brian.
Okay, so is my whacked out theory that you're not going to make it as a life coach all that unrealistic, given you're not exactly off to a rocket start here, right?
Well,
you printed up flyers, you did everything you could to drum up business, and you got.
May I throw a different fucking idea at you? Because I've been working with other coaches. I've actually had experience speaking with other speakers and coaches and learning of their experiences.
Did they talk?
And actually, some of the feedback I got.
Did they talk?
Some of the feedback I got, Brian, is 10 people for your first speech. Fucking great job. Good work,
Jack. When you talk to these guys.
Yeah.
Don't you ever get the impression that they're fucking just selling you a dream? that they're going to profit from trying to rope you into being. You said you had an agent, but that she quit being your agent because you ran out of money. Dude, you're being sold a fucking bill of goods. You're not going to be a public speaker.
Brian.
You're not going to be a public speaker, Jack.
Thanks for your support. Can I fucking tell you my side?
Your side, Jack, is so self-pity. Poor me. I've been persecuted by everybody.
Oh, I thought I was a lunatic.
Well, to hear some people say it, sure. I've heard several claims of violence.
Oh, so I'm back to being a victim now?
But you seem to think you're being persecuted by everybody, top to bottom. Except those people that will return your call.
Prove me wrong. How about that? Prove I'm not.
Prove you're not what?
Prove I'm not being persecuted. Give me evidence that says, Jack, you are not being persecuted, regardless if I deserve it or not. Prove I'm not.
You're being held accountable for your own actions.
I am. By whom?
You've made the bed that you are now having to lie in.
Okay, so I deserve Charles and John.
You deserve every fucking thing you're getting.
Hold on. The night before I meet the postmaster to plead for my job, and I post on Facebook, guys, will you please support me? You're saying I deserve Charles and John Wald attacking my character and my credibility, urging other people not to support Jack Talcott. That is exactly what I deserved, Brian.
If I don't even know about that, but if Charles and John both said that, I put more stock in what they say, and I think of them as more stand-up guys that will tell you to tell the truth. Yeah. What do you think? Charles is just some anti-union guy who wants to fucking bury you for no goddamn reason?
No.
Okay,
Brian.
So maybe you fucking earned that.
Brian. Maybe I earned it a year ago. Jack, do I earn it? Have I earned it today? When do people let shit go? When do they say, you know what, Jack, can we give you a new chance?
When you stop fucking yelling at me every other goddamn paragraph. You could barely fucking hold your cool when your Christian buddy was standing right next to you. You stormed off a couple times even then.
Yep.
So when you change your fucking demeanor, when you change your demeanor back to the Jack Talcott that we all knew and loved, then people will give you a fucking chance. But something,
hey, Brian,
and
Brian, you see this fucking circle, this catch-22? When Jack does this, then we'll do this.
Yeah.
How about this? How do I get you to fucking...
You get the respect that you earn. And right now you fucking burned every bridge you fucking...
So how do I get past that? What can I do? I've apologized, Brian.
To who?
I've apologized to you. I've apologized to Wanda, JR, Charles.
Your apologies are about as hollow as when you finish every one of your angry rants with a little fucking... You put a little heart at the bottom and say namaste.
All right. Okay.
You go into an angry rant, call people fucking cunts and bitches and swear up a storm, and then you put on the bottom this little prayer sign with a heart.
Okay.
It's completely disingenuous.
Hey, Brian, you're breaking my heart. Please stop. Please stop. You've cast enough dispersions, pointed out far sufficient number of my faults. I'm going to deal with Brian, please. Brian, for 2 hours you have shared with me your time, and I want to thank you very greatly. I'm probably not going to follow your advice and delete my YouTube channel immediately. I'm probably going to still pursue some opportunities that are in front of me for investors and sponsorship.
Good luck.
Hey, Brian, I would ask you.
I will still actually, though, send some emails and try to get you an answer for what's going on with your case.
Hey, can I please?
Jack never deleted his YouTube channel. Y'all know that.
address something that you will probably encounter when you speak to JR and Wanda.
They're completely full of shit. Let me guess.
Huh?
They're completely low lives, not to be trusted, and completely full of shit.
I've never said that about anybody. Why would you project those words into my mouth?
You've implied it about both of them.
Brother, I don't know that I've disparaged anyone. I have questioned people's actions, certainly. I've asked people to explain their actions, but I have not. Okay, allow me to get back to my point, if I may. You're likely going to hear that the reason they refuse to communicate with me is because I yelled at them. Now, as with...
Said you had an agent.
I've apologized to you.
You're wrong when you're...
I've never said that about anybody. Why would you project those words into my mouth?
You've implied it about both of them.
Brother, I don't know that I've disparaged anyone. I have questioned people's actions, certainly. I've asked people to explain their actions, but I have not. Okay, allow me to get back to my point, if I may. You're likely going to hear that the reason they refuse to communicate with me is because I yelled at them. Now, as with you, Brian, right, as I share, right, shocking that Jack Talcott raised his voice. Jack's never done that in all of his adult life. That only started in 2018. He never used to yell before. But
not that I ever heard.
But so you're probably going to hear that I raised my voice, but let's not forget, JR has fucking gunnery tattooed on his knuckles. He's a proud motherfucking Navy boy. Badass fucking Navy guy. Proud of it. So I thought that I could speak to him as a man.
Him, right?
I'm crediting him. He is a badass. He is a proud Navy man.
Yeah.
He served proudly, and he is a tough guy.
Yeah. Okay. You weren't disparaging him there at all.
Well, why does this man run in fear from a little fucking pussy who knows nothing, right? Why does this man, what makes him cower in fear? And that's what I'm going to call it. If he's too afraid to even text me or to email me,
man, I would just love
the last time I reached out to JR, you know what? The last couple times I can recall reaching out to JR, his response to me is, I'm on my weekend. Leave me alone. Okay, brother. Yeah. God bless you. Well, please let me know when you get back to work. And then months later, still no response. But so what you'll probably hear is I yelled at JR, yelled at Wanda. One of the things that they like to throw out is right before I got fired, when I was asking Wanda, why have I not heard from any of you guys? Why have I not heard from you? Wanda brought up that her father had died 6 months before, and I said, God bless. I'm so sorry, Wanda. Now, what was described is that I told Wanda you should get over it, and I acted real cold-hearted, which I'm not a cold-hearted man. However, I do help people recover and get over losses and past issues. Jack, so I offered to Wanda, I said, Wanda, may I offer some help? But that was 6 months ago. So what is your excuse today for not contacting me?
I just saw a post today of what you told Margot about her poor dead son. Okay. Don't try to tell me you're this caring person that is helping people get over their losses.
Would you like to know more about the relationship between Margot and I, so I can explain why I chose to go that low route?
Frankly, no.
Okay, so is there no comparison to the fact that I've lost my son? I have lost my son.
You can understand my
Brian. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I have lost my son. You want to talk about empathy?
Jack,
I lost my son,
and you still haven't learned. If that don't wake your ass up, what the fuck will?
Goodbye.
Hey, Peace.
Well, I think that was the end of that one. Yeah, he went postal. No pun intended, you postal workers out there. We love y'all. Without y'all, I wouldn't get my packages out in the middle of nowhere. All right, so those were the last two Talcott tales. And let's see. So we are going to share a few videos. Okay, I will do my best to show y'all what I found today. Let's see, let's have a little chit chat before I do that. And there's something having issues with women as well. Yes, he has issues with women. He don't like women telling him nothing. He projects some kind of resentment, probably because of his wife, his ex-wife. You could hear it again in his time towards me today. Yeah, he kicked me off his panel, and all I asked him why he used Jesus as a cuss word. That was a long months ago. And then I bring him up on my channel, trying to be nice to him and everything. Hi, Bex. Try to be nice to him and everything. And you could tell when I'm talking, he's rolling his eyes and moving his head and his shoulders. Clearly, he's telling you to F off, you know? So, yeah, I get that. But, all right. We are going to show a few things here. I made a list, y'all. I made a list of timestamps. All right. And we're going to show some optics, as Snaps likes to say. People always say, oh, Snaps always has optics. Yes, he does. So we're going to show some Talcott optics. Pixel says, it's very obvious. A lot of the men online do the same thing, including the certain individuals on his panel today. They have that in common. That's probably, yeah, they like to hang out. You know, that's probably why. You know, I mean, God forbid a woman get up there and question any of them. They just about have a heart attack. They can't deal with it. Okay, now this is, let me make sure I got the right. Okay. Now you all just heard Jack, right? You heard how he was talking and everything, okay? To me, he sounds like okay, so when he was with the Postal Service, from what I picked up, is that he was like head of the union, and he was there. All of them, Charles, everybody, all of them say he's a very smart guy, that he did a good job with the union. I mean, he was on fire, and they all really liked him a lot, right? Until he went all guru on him, and then, you know, he went left. So remember that, okay? They all now watch watch what he says. He doesn't even, this is just showing that he doesn't even see it within his own self. Okay? All right.
Somehow, well, here, what do you do with an individual without using violence? Without using violence, what do you do with a person in authority who refuses to accept the truth?
Did y'all hear that? What do you do with somebody in authority that won't accept the truth? Now, it doesn't matter who he's talking about, but we're all talking about him saying the same thing, and he doesn't get it. But here, he's trying to get the answer for somebody else from these guys. How do you get them the truth without violence? Well, Charles wasn't violent with them. Brian wasn't violent with them. Margot and Marie were. violent with them. They're all trying to talk to him. And he's screaming like a banshee, like a little girl that didn't get her Barbie doll for Christmas. I mean, he's just screaming at him.
Well, I think one of the, I guess, obvious things to do is to speak the truth regardless of the consequences you'll face when it happens, right? So I think most people can't really get over that hump, right? Most people want to fit in, and so there's so they have lengthy ways of coping with that, lengthy solutions, to cope with the fact that they're not brave enough to actually speak the truth. I think most people's lives are actually a way of, blocking themselves. So, I mean, obviously, this is the most relevant topic: accuracy and honesty. And how do you know yourself? If you don't know your own limits, then you can't be accurate in applying any action.
Look at that thumbs up of his. He's agreeing. All right, now I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Now look, I don't want nobody going to nobody's channel saying, "Oh, she mixed the clips up. She fast forwarded. She didn't let the whole clip play." You want to be a little tattletale and go from channel to channel. You know who you are. I'm not going to be that person that's going to call you out. But I don't appreciate it. To me, that's backstabbing. Okay. I don't appreciate that because I'm not a liar. I'm not misquoting him. I'm just showing this. I'm going to skip all the BS in the middle, and we're going to go to here.
About this. Well, the way authority gets away with this bullshit, the way the people in charge get away with this bullshit is by walking away from questions.
What does Jack do? What does Jack do? He walks away from questions, doesn't he? Margot, Pixel, LCJC. He walks away from questions. Now, what he was talking about before that, because I don't want nobody misquoting me or saying that, oh, she took it out of context. He was talking about something about Bill Gates going to Africa and blah, 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 all this other stuff, okay? But he's talking about them, but he don't even see it within himself. Jack, if you dare say I compared you with Bill Gates, there is no comparison, okay? So don't go down that hole. Well, I'm talking about these people that you work with said that you were a good leader when you had your shit together. Excuse my French. And then you went off the rails. But you yourself cannot even see what you're doing. You're easily saying it about somebody else, but you don't even see it within yourself. You're just completely blind to it. All right. I think this is the same clip, so we're going to go to, I think, hold on. Hold on. I did a little bit of homework today, y'all. I was a busy girl. Let's see what's this one supposed to talk about.
Yes. Yes. And someone who admits they don't know everything. I say on my channel, I don't know. With certain things, somebody asks me a question, I'll say, I'm not going to lie and pretend to know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Okay, I'm not going to speak on this person, but I've been to his channel a few times. And when you're on his panel, you don't get a word in edgewise. Okay, it's his way, or the no way. And if you go against his teaching, he lets you know it. So I'm not going to, this isn't about him, but we got to listen out a little bit to get to
And
Jack.
I was wrong about certain things, even with people on the panel. I was wrong about Tarek.
I pointed that out because of what y'all said about that. You know, he doesn't even see what he's doing.
When I said he's a complete ass kisser, he's not 100% an ass kisser. And I think I called Jack a psychopath or something wrong. I was wrong about that. I don't think Jack's a complete psycho. And Pixel T, Yolanda, I don't think you're as bad as what I might have said about you in the past.
Okay. This is today. Pixel put this in the chat. Didn't you promote those calls, Jack? And it seemed to have backfired on you and reopened a can of worms. Well, you're going to hear what Jack says right now. Okay? That's what I want you to see and hear, not what this guy's saying. I just needed to clip it here because when she pops up. So, Stephen, don't you come at me, okay? Because it is what it is. So, we're here to talk about Jack.
You have said some terrible things, but you're not, you're not 100% evil or anything.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
But that's a lot on my channel too. I try not to talk about the topics I don't know about. But then again, I say I talk about technology and religion, and then I get people to think, what isn't a technology and what isn't a religion? Right? Because it's all basically that.
Yeah.
Regarding
Pixel T, yeah, she certainly surprised me.
She's another Margot, Jack. I'm sorry.
What's that?
To me, she's like another Margot on a lower frequency.
Oh,
what did you say? You called her a what?
Yeah, Pixel T. Like she what she does is she'll like get up and say good things about Jack, then she'll just turn the other way and just go totally the opposite and all against everything he says or whatever in some ways.
Oh,
I thought I heard you say she's a rotten handful.
No,
maybe it was my internet. No. I couldn't hear exactly what Tarek said.
It was a comparison to Margot, and at first I objected and I didn't understand, but I see what you're saying, Tarek, and this is where I was going to go. Yolanda, you presented one thing, and then you change your mind, and then you start casting all these confusion and all the doubts, and all you got to do is, hey, Yolanda, you might be dead.
See the way he's moving his fingers and the way he's talking and acting and everything and how they're all against Pixel, okay? Pay attention to that because Pixel, you just sit tight, sister.
Fucking wrong about you. You're not as smart or as glorious as you believe.
Yeah.
Because your question, the way you're doing this, referring to me, didn't you promote those calls, Jack? Yes, I reached out to friends in my union, brothers who I was loyal to, who I care about, who I thought cared about me. And it did seem to backfire on me. Am I to be blamed because my efforts were not successful, Yolanda? And you think I reopened a can of worms by the choice of Snafu and LCJC crew, whatever, by them air.
Yeah, so let's get it straight, Jack. It's not LCJC crew, it's LCJC family. That's my family. The crew is the Snafu crew, okay? Not LCJC family crew. So get it right next time, Mr. Guru. You want to hold a seminar, but you can't even get names straight.
The past instead of seeking resolve? No.
She's blaming
Pixel T. No.
But didn't you encourage Snafu to share them?
I did not encourage Snafu to share them.
Yeah, no, he definitely didn't.
How about Pixel T? You are wrong.
Pixel T, sister. If you were here, I'd want a big hug and a kiss, honey, because you're about to be vindicated. She is not wrong, Jack. You are a liar. And you're going to come on your channel tomorrow and say, okay, LCJC family, I was wrong. I misspoke. You're going to do a whole drama piece on it, right? You won't now because I'm telling you you're going to do it, so you won't do it. See, because I'm good like that, right? Because I'm not an idiot. But you're a liar. You lied on Jeeps, and you lied on Pixel, you lied on Margot, you lied on Charles, and you lied on Dude, how are we supposed to believe anything you say? Because you lie on everybody. All right, here we go.
Can you
Yeah.
accept you're wrong?
I'm with Jack on this one. She's trying to blame Jack for what Snafu's doing. I mean,
Yes.
that's his channel. That's not.
Steven, I'm going to say this once. Snafu's not doing anything. Jack approved everything. I'm going to show you that. Snaps is just hitting play. He's just hitting a little button, restreaming. That's all he's doing. He did not get on that phone call. He did not encourage Jack to make the phone call. He did not tell Jack, hey, let's play it, Jack. He told him, hey, what do you think? Jack said, play it. You're going to hear him. Snaps is just restreaming what other people are putting down. So let's not get it twisted.
Snafu. What are you talking about, Lana? This is so bizarre.
Yeah, I've
Blaming Jack.
I've definitely been there before where Snafu's made accusations and then somebody comes and tries to, address his accusations with me, and then I guess they interpret that I have a negative response towards them all of a sudden. So I don't know. I think that's just a game that goes on. And
I think what she's doing is pointing the finger at Jack, going, "Ha ha! It blew up in your face," and saying you did this. That's the way it comes across to me. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Stephen, thank you, because she doesn't even realize it. She's being cruel. She doesn't even see what she's doing. She thinks she's being good by asking questions, right? For fuck's sake.
Yeah, she has that smug attitude. Like she's kind of this smug bitch, She's I don't know.
Please, Steve.
You see how they're talking? And they have no idea. They just go along with Jack. Well, Steven's going along with Jack just because he's kissing butt. If you ever watch Steve's channel, he will say and do anything to be on somebody's channel to get subs over to his. Although he will scream and shout to the rooftops, I don't need followers. I have money. He'll do all that stuff. But it is what it is. I don't know the machine lies, so I'm not going to speak on him. You can read the comments, what Snap says about him. I don't know him. I've never seen him. I'm not going to say nothing about him. And Tarek is keeping quiet, which I'm quite glad he did keep quiet, because you'd feel stupid if you'd commented here. All right. So let me, I'm just going to stop that because we had enough of that, right, Pixel? We don't need to rehash that because we heard him say all that already. All right. So let's see. That was 101.30 and 420. Let's see. I think we need to go to, I think we're past it. Okay. I think we're done with this clip. So let's get rid of this one. And Pixel. What's up, sister? Your speaker's off.
Hello, how are you? It's nice to meet you.
I'm good. How are you, hon?
I'm actually surprised that you had me in your title tonight. So thank you.
Well,
thank you for the technically the invitation. I appreciate it.
I did not know how to get a hold of you. I didn't know email, nothing, but I wanted you to see it, and I was hoping somebody would say, hey, Elsie Jason's got your name on her title, so you'd come and watch. Because what they did to you today was a bunch of garbage, and I wanted you to be vindicated today. Uh-oh, it's trouble. Snaps, your speaker's off.
Well, it's on right now. Well, Lena, she's Lena's hug a buddy, fuck a buddy, and with Pixel, and me and PX are handling Pixel and Bex. Let's not forget Pixel here, Yolanda, the vaccinated one, has discredited the Truthio and the Snafu crew on multiple agendas when it came to Monograph, when it came to even Marfugal, when it came to the weaponized granny panty Satanist Venus Cupcake and all them. Now, Lena doesn't know a lot, but she knows we watch out. So tonight is the show of, even when Tommy and I forgave each other. There's optics in play. So, Yolanda, you're welcome to have your discussion with Lena. I'm going to leave and let Lena understand the optics of you because, Lena tells the truth, yo. And she's a loving, caring person, part of the crew, the zebras, real whistleblowers, real journalists, real fishermen. But Lena, let's not forget that Pixel was 100% involved with the Granny Panty Venus Cupcake optics. Me and PX are handling the chat while you're live right now. So, Pixel, you're lucky Lena saw Jack's lies because we are exposing. But we've been exposing even when it came to your witch pal friends, Venus Cupcake, who want to kill me, and other death threats they've made over the years with the monograph optics and many others. So I'm going to go,
Well,
Elena. I just wanted you to
before
understand
you go,
what's
Snaps,
going on
can I
here.
respond to
So,
some of those
and Lena did
accusations
find
too?
optics because we always stand against what's right and wrong. That's why
Snafu,
she's showing the Jacktales with you because Jack is a liar. But
Snafu,
see,
if we're
our
talking about truth,
whistleblowing,
Snaps, listen to me for just a second, please. Okay? Already, if we're going to talk about truth, you've just accused me of being vaccinated. That's a lie.
Yolanda,
You're
you
getting me
best recognize
confused.
where you're at.
No, sir, you're
I'm just
getting me
telling you
confused
right
with
now,
somebody
I'm
else.
going to leave and let Lena talk to you.
But you
My
just,
optics with
but
you is
you
I
just
will be
presented
monitoring
me
every fucking
in a way
move you
that's
make.
not truthful, Snaps.
Every fucking move you
And
make.
I
And Lena,
have
just
not,
remember,
and I don't
these
even know
people are
anything about
tied with the
Marfugal.
Granny
You're
Panty
getting me
weaponized
confused
Venus
with that.
Cupcake. And they've had
Venus
many
Cupcake
meetings.
can't stand
And
me
you
and has
understand
called me
who's
crew for
tied to
years.
who, Lena. So
So
I'm just saying Lena's a journalist,
you're not even
whistleblower,
allowing me to
truth
speak,
yo,
Snaps.
and that's why she pulled the story about Jack lying about certain females in the community. I am just letting you know you have been discrediting me and the Truth Yo and the crew for a long time with some of the biggest enemies I fucking have that are connected to some of the
But you're
biggest
doing
traitors,
exactly to me what
fraudulent
Jack did to
motherfuckers
me today,
out here
Snaps.
who have
You're
threatened my
accusing me of
life and
things
other
that
zebras'
are
life.
not me.
So I will leave because I have nothing to say to you, Yolanda. I said it just now. But Lena, you need to know who we're talking to as we're exposing the truth, yo. Because good for you for finding Jack lied on Bex, Yolanda, whoever he lied. He's a lying scumbag piece of shit. But we will not look at the optics for what they aren't. We document everything, Yolanda. And this is just, as you say, an olive branch back in the day. Remember the olive branch days, Lena? The food target? Yolanda, I'm going to
Yeah.
let Lena chat with you. I just needed Lena to understand the optics are high.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Snaps.
Well,
Okay, so I don't know a lot of the stuff that they know. I just know that I found this information and they did you dirty and I didn't like it. Now, as far as Venus Cupcake, she's not very nice. She's a mean lady. She keeps calling me Christian. I ain't no Christian, okay? If you've learned anything from waking up, you understand that religion's all man-made, it's all a lie. Your best bet is just to follow the Father. That's it. She keeps calling me a fake Christian. She's an idiot. And she's not very nice. So
well,
that's my only issue with her. Other than that, I don't got an issue with her.
this is part of my frustration on participating with this group, to be honest with you, Lena, because this is what I've been experiencing with off and on through the years, and I'm going to say through the years I've been involved with these storylines, with this online stuff for what Snafu calls the digital experience for 3 years. And Snafu and Paul Enslaved were my introduction to paneling, and then it transferred over to trying to figure out who this character of Jack Talcott was, and that just sent me down a whole adventure of awareness for myself. But I just want you to know, for me personally, those accusations that Snafu just did to me, yes, off and on, we've all had our days when we agree with each other and we don't agree with each other. But he just accused me of being vaccinated. That's not true. I know he has this thing with Marfugal. I don't know what any of that is about, except for what I see him getting upset with other people. That's not me. I think what's happening here is that his frustration over certain individuals get mixed up in his mind, and I
Well,
get
no.
thrown into that
Let me
bunch.
stop you. Let me stop you for 1 second there. he can't go into detail, but those people have seen my videos, so they know about Marfugal. He's not mixed up in his head, but to go over details every time he gets
With me,
online with
he is.
somebody or gets on a panel. But let me explain to you really quick. I was Marfugal TV's head mod. If you care to know, which you should, Marfugal TV and News, his co-host Dex, he's not just the backstage co-host like I am for Snaps. He is the man that created 21 patents to track the entire world. He implemented it on Marfugal TV's channel. They did experiments on us mods, social experiments that they sold to China. This is all stuff that I investigated and I know for a fact. Marfugal TV News was Adam, the owner of that channel, was given $6 million to allow that to happen. They went after his partner, a 9-year Air Force veteran. They went after her because she refused to take the money. She refused to allow it because she's a Christian and she knew what it was. She said no. They went after her with both barrels. They threatened her life. They sent people to her home to put letters in her neighbor's mailboxes. When she wouldn't stop, they knew she was going to expose them. They threatened her parents' lives. She walked away from the internet and hasn't been back on since. That
Well,
same guy that did that just did a video, said he was going after her again. This is not a game. When Snafu's talking about all this stuff, it's not just him running his mouth. He knows what he's talking about.
no,
And that guy
I
said he's going after
appreciate
Snaps too.
I appreciate that, LCJC. I honestly, Lena, I understand how important these topics are for Snafu. I've been listening to him for 3
No.
years.
Let me just say one more thing. Let me say one more thing. When that FEMA bus shows up in your yard to pick up you and your family, it's because of Marfugal TV and News. So when that bus shows up and you're getting on that bus with your family, you remember our conversation and you remember what I said about Marfugal TV and News. You might want to get to know what that's all about because you could thank them when that happens. Because you remember Trump shaking hands with that Allison guy from Oracle? That's who Dex worked for. Dex was the CEO of productions for Oracle. The CIA was Oracle's first client. This goes very deep, and a lot of people don't understand that, and that's fine.
Well,
But
but
Snafu's
you
not.
know,
He's
honestly
not
though,
off his.
Lena, you don't know my experience with Snafu these 3 years either. It's been
No, I don't.
intense, okay? It's
Yes,
been intense
yes,
and he was my introduction to all of this, and I'm thankful for it. It was intense. It did scare me in the beginning because I was naive and I didn't know what this was about. Okay? So, I appreciate you bringing a different awareness onto the subject other than what Snafu has presented to us through the years, because I have not heard this other information like you've just described to me. But again, that's not why I'm up here. I was up here because you had mentioned my name, and I wanted to go ahead and give you my input on that if you're interested. I'm not here to
yeah,
create any kind of toxic tribalism. I'm not here to
no,
speak against Snafu Snaps. I'm not here to speak against you. I was up here to speak about Jack, and if you want to get on that, I'm more than willing to have that conversation with you. But to be honest,
that's
right now,
wonderful.
I'm a little bit overwhelmed yet again by the intensity and frustration of people taking things
I
out
get
on
it.
me that is not me.
Right. The reason he came up here is because he knows that I don't know a lot of the players, so that have been on other channels that have been against him or what have you. So he came up here just to let me know that he's had issues with you, and that was all. And then he left because
And
he
I'll be
knows that I'm
100% honest with you, LCJC. I have had a huge cognitive blind spot off and on through the years with all of these people. Okay. It's been a huge learning experience. And Jack Talcott has been a big lesson learned. And I am the kind of person that once I learn a lesson, I don't make the same mistake twice. And the thing that really frustrates me that he's focusing me and incorporating me with somebody like Venus. Venus can't stand me and has been calling me crew for years for calling her out on her crap as well. So this is what's frustrating to me, is that you're going to get his version, you're going to get my version, and you're going to have your own discernment somewhere in between. You and I don't know each other, you know, so
Right. And
all
Snaps
you have
knows
is my word.
Snaps knows I follow the beat of my own drum. And, you know, I'll listen to him to some extent, but I am my own person. He just gives me he just lets me know who all the players are, because I just usually do more Fugle stuff and expose everything about them, because they've done a lot more than that. But he's just trying to warn me, and he gets a little heated and all that. So, but I'm, you know, when he starts to hear more about, you know, about you and stuff, you know, he might, you know, get a little bit, you know, softer with that, you know. So,
Well,
okay,
Snafu has done
we're done
visits
with
with
that.
me. Yeah, he's done visits with me as well through the years, and I don't. This is the thing, is that I am a person that's willing to change and have forgiveness and receive insight and all those kinds of things. I can do that. What other people choose to do, and if they can't do that, that's on them. That's all, and that's all I have to say about that.
Okay. All right. So let's get into this Jack stuff. So you went on there and you asked him a question. You said, "Hey, didn't you say it was okay for him to do it?" So you must have saw that video that he did, right?
Well, not only that, but I've heard him in conversations with Snafu up there, encouraging Snafu to play these videos and on other panels when people were confused and said that they were upset for Snafu calling him out, and he just always said he knew what he was doing. So, for the last 3 years, Jack is not a victim of his circumstances. He's chosen to share all of these things publicly, and he's chosen to share them with Snafu Snaps. So I
Yeah.
don't,
And the
yeah.
and the thing is that during the day when he's not live, he's calling Snaps on the phone. The Snaps you guys see online is not the Snaps that I know. I call him Matthew, but I see the softer side of him. I see the humanized side of him. You guys see the digital part of him. And Talcott, Jack's always calling him, and Matthew's always talking to him
You know
very
what?
lovingly, very
You know
kindly.
what? I actually have experienced that loving snafu. That's why I'm frustrated. It's it's
Yeah.
it's I He has been very protective over me in the past, but you know, there's only so much a person can communicate in a text, and you know, in the chats, where things can be misunderstood, or you know, people get hyped up into the toxic tribalism, and I've been participated in this long enough that I am not going to be doing that nonsense anymore. Yeah, I've been listening to all of these videos that Snafu's release. I've listened to your videos as well, because yes, the truth lies somewhere in between, because I've had my own personal experience with Jack Talcott, and he's treated
Hmm.
me exactly the same way as he's treated these people. So I know from my discernment and my own experience, just me, that these
Yeah.
are not the individuals that he's accusing, and creating this list of being victim status from. It's him. It's not just these individuals.
Yeah. And when he called you out today, I don't watch his channel, but the last couple of days I'll go in there when he goes live and I'll listen when Snaps is in there. And then, you know, I'll kind of skip through. And when I hear something, you know, I'll listen. But I don't, it's been months since he kicked me off this panel. I don't know how long ago it was. And so I just never went back. But now that we're doing these, and he's calling people liars and all this other stuff, and I'm going to his channel to see what he's saying. And when he said that today, I'm like, oh hell no. He flat out called you a liar. And they called you a bitch, and they called you, you know, they said, why would she do that? And blah 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 blah.
It's been going on for
I'm
years, and that's why they can't
Yeah,
stand me, because when I come up and I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? And you could even see that part that you played. I immediately put, I could be wrong, but that's what I had
I saw
heard
that.
him say to Snafu and on these other channels. So I was confused, And I thought, okay, this is another moment of experiencing the doublespeak and the manipulation that happens from Jack. And it's
Yeah.
disgusting. It's
Yeah.
absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. In the next clip we're gonna play, he yells at, he talks bad about, he says he doesn't call nobody names, yet he cusses about Charles. And then he says a few other things. So he said, Charles, he said that you were the one texting him and stuff. So you're saying he called you? He was calling you. I'm listening to you, but I'm kind of checking over here in the comments, and he
Well,
said that you were calling him or you were texting him, but Charles is saying he was calling Charles.
well, unfortunately,
So
I've gotten myself too invested in this scenario.
yeah,
But just like
yeah,
these other people, you eventually, you go out to be kind to somebody and to reach out. But that is, yeah, I again, this whole entire scenario is just, I'm thankful that you guys have highlighted this and presented it to the audience. This is the awareness that people need to have on
yeah,
the enabling of that character. And I've been called out by all of these guys for it through the years. But, again, this character of Jack Talcott, people have come in and have their times when they've come through and they've enabled it. They've used him for content. They do care about him. And then it's turned to this, which is what you saw today, where he completely turns it around on a person and does the double speak. And it's very confusing. And I could see why it would be confusing to be a child in that position,
yeah.
truly.
I picked up the same thing you have. I see these postal workers that worked with him all reaching out to him saying, Jack, stop. You can get your job back. Just stop. You don't have to be homeless. You can get your job back. And they're shaking him, and he doesn't like it because he wants to do that, the speaking and stuff, but he doesn't have, he can't be. No one
Well,
will listen to him.
Snafu calls it the digital experience, but you can clearly see that a lot of people suffer from being brainwashed online.
Yeah.
And you
I
hear
was
that in his
I was
presentations.
brainwashed
Yeah,
when
and
it
I
comes
was
when
too,
it comes
potentially. Yeah.
when it comes to more frugal TV and news. I was his head mod. I was very much brainwashed. I was also involved in the attacks against Shaw, the 9-year veteran, and I was in a very small part of it. Doesn't matter. I was still involved. Once my husband died, and this is going to sound bad, but because he died, I got away from it. So when I came back, I was no longer connected. But when they unmodded me, I was still trying to be a mod. And it wasn't until they had modded me where Snaps found it safe enough to tell me what was going on, because he also was very much involved with Marfugal TV News. So it's I've never thought anybody could get me to be involved in something like that. That I can be in a cult, and that's what it was. You can call it whatever you want. That's what it was. Just like Jack's followers, it's an occult. It's a following. I never thought that
Hmm.
would be me. And when I realized afterwards what we had done to that poor girl, that woman, 9-year veteran, served her country honorably, think she found this great truther channel, and they turn around and did her dog dirty, me included.
Well, I even have
Eh,
kind of, and maybe this is something you and Snafu can actually confirm for me, is that Jack says that he's a veteran. And I've heard him speak about him having an office position in the military and that he was never in battle. So even
Maybe.
that, and I could be wrong, but I could have sworn that I've heard him say that. But where I'm going with this is that if that's true, right, and he was in an office position, it's interesting to me to even see him virtue signal being a veteran in that
Yeah.
capacity in comparison to somebody that's actually gone through battle and has
Right.
gone through the psychosis and the damage of um, being a soldier. Like
Yeah.
I even kind of honed in on that, and I could be wrong about that as well.
Yeah. My son, he was in the Marine Corps and he served 3 tours. He was in the invasion. His records are all classified. So I can't see what he went through. All I know is that he came home, he became a Los Angeles sheriff's deputy, and after 3 years on the job, he disappeared. When he resurfaced, he was 8 years old. He's 100% disabled. I take care of him to this day. And his liaisons officer that come, he visits him every year since Trump came into office. And he had the whole veterans thing changed around because before people would keep the veterans money and kick them out of the house. Parents were doing this to their children. I was beside myself. I couldn't believe that people actually do that, but they do. He made it so they now have a liaison officer that comes to the home every year, makes sure that the person is in the home, the veteran is in the home. They make sure every penny to the penny is accounted for that he gets, and it is all used for him. So they can no longer steal the veterans' money anymore. It is
I'm
used
so
on that
sorry to hear that.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
I'm really, my heart goes out to you. I have a family member that's going through a very difficult time with his injury and what he experienced, and the process that him as a veteran and as an injured
yeah,
veteran, he's not receiving any of his benefits because pretty much
that's
they're waiting
sad.
for him to die or to do
Oh,
something
that's
else to
sad.
himself. So I appreciate
That's
um,
sad.
when I hear Snafu really pump up the antics of veteran fraud. But hearing your story just, again, it brings a different insight on what Snafu's been trying to highlight on this
Yeah.
Marfugal
And
News.
he knows what I've been through, and that probably helps him get a little bit closer to it because he saw by me speaking about it. I did my very first video was about my son joining, and he graduated from high school the year early. So as everyone's going through their senior year, he was in boot camp when Bush declared war. He served all 3 tours before he was 21. When he was 21, he was graduating from the sheriff's department. He didn't even have his first drink, you know. And so everything that I've gone through, I did my first video was over 2 hours long, going through all the steps in the process of what I went through. When you see those moms on TV getting awards with the president and all that, what they don't tell you is that mom every night is, well, their son is at war, sitting on the edge of her bed with a glass of wine, rocking back and forth, screaming and crying for her child to come home, because we know the chance of that is 50-50. It's a crapshoot. And then when you get your child home, you didn't get your child home because he's not the same anymore. Nobody that comes back from war is the same. And then you find out that Adam from our Frugal TV News does a fundraiser for Cars for Heroes, and he keeps the money. My liaisons officer, or my son's liaisons officer, he says I can't look at his files because they're all classified. But I can tell you that 2 of the awards that he got were for hand-to-hand combat. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he goes, that means there were no weapons. It was hand to hand, and somebody's child didn't go home. And it happened to him twice. And that changes a man. So imagine being a man at war and you're hand to hand, and one of you's not going home. I got my son home, but somebody's mother didn't. So when you get someone like Marfugal TV News do a fundraiser, and in 3 years, they never gave that guy the money. And the audios are on there when Snaps is talking to the guy from Cars for Heroes, and he says, "Oh, I never got anything, and I'm the owner of this company. If I got money, I would be the first to know." And then Adam goes and pays him a little visit. Next thing you know, that guy's on Adam's channel, and he's saying, "Oh, well, I eventually got the money, and you know, what does it matter? They kept the money for a few T-shirts, and It's a little more drawn out than that. But they gave that guy an envelope, I believe, my opinion. They gave him an envelope and made him shut up. They stole
Well,
that money from those veterans.
again, like my experience is nothing in comparison to yours, but my adventure on here has brought me like there's a lot of darkness that you see that people
Yeah,
hide behind on this internet stuff, and
yeah,
with it all turning to digital makes it even more accessible potentially into people's personal lives, because we have these devices near us or on us at all times. And
yeah,
it'll be harder for, I think, you can see how much tighter uh, free speech and the
yeah.
change of the rules of even here on this platform. Um, it's a weird experience.
Yeah, yeah. That's why when we call it, as Planet X watcher down there says digital experience, and Snafu Snaps always talks about the digital experience because Dex, Marfugel's right hand man, the one that designed all the patents to track us, to track Christians, to track you, to know how many children you have, how many weapons you have. Do you have a well on your property? How much food storage do you have? They're going to know everything about you with the click of a button because he designed the
Wow.
patents. I did a whole video on it. So
Wow.
for somebody to not want to know what they're about, this is real. I always wondered, how are they going to track the entire world? Well, the guy that's his co-host, Dex, is not just a co-host. He was the CEO for productions at Oracle. Why would
Well,
he go on a small channel like Marfugal TV and News? Why would a CEO of productions of Oracle go on a small channel on
Mhm.
YouTube
Well,
to
because that's how
implement
it
the software to
starts.
track us? To
Yeah.
track us.
Well, we see we're on
That's why.
repeat, right? But they're doing it digital. This isn't the
Yes.
first time that they've created, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That little baby started off with having to go in and be monitored and tracked, right? That's the one of the
Yeah.
very first stories you hear about that from the Roman Empire, and we're still in that empire, but now it's being updated to the fifth industrial
Yeah.
revolution, which is digital. I
Yes. When
understand.
when when Snaps goes on Paul Enslaved and OTW and Jax, and he says, "Why won't you play LCJC's videos? Because my videos are very clear, they're very specific, they're very detailed, and I tell about what happened when I was on as a mod in those back rooms because we were in back rooms targeting that girl." And talking about the tracking and all that. My videos are very detailed. And when he asks them, why won't you do this? And they won't play those videos as important as they are, they won't play them for a reason. And he calls
Well,
them out on it.
yeah,
Everyone
that's
thinks he's just going on there yelling. No, he's screaming from the rooftops to pay attention what's happening in the world.
hmm
But because he cusses and he yells, people don't take him serious. And I wish they would take him serious because he's screaming from the rooftops, from the love from his heart to wake up, pay attention. This is happening. And they don't want to play it. They want to make a few bucks talking about, I don't know, threesomes and jock straps and whatever it is they talk about.
well, again, it makes it hard for um, for these conversations sometimes because when I've tried to join, it always goes in that direction, and it always baffles me that it goes into that direction, because um, that's why I mentioned earlier when I said men. I'm not saying all men on here. I'm just saying there are a group of men on here that they could give two shits about what a woman has to offer
Yeah.
to this experience as a human being. It is bizarre to to participate in and to sit back and watch. And
And here's the thing. Here's the thing though, because so far everything to date the Bible speaks about prophecy has come to true to date. When there's no rule of law, and it's going to happen, we are going to have war on our soil. When it happens, there's a lot of men that are going to go south. A lot of men they're going to remember how women have treated them. A lot of women out there are very cruel to men. And God help those women, because those men, you better fear them, and you better be ready with food, water, protection. And I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you better have your ducks in a row, because there's a lot of men that aren't going to do a damn thing for women. There are a lot of men that will, but there are a lot of men that won't, and you don't want to run into those men. And it's sad, but that's what it was all by design. It was all by design. The women's lib movement wasn't to give us power. It was to turn the men against us. So when this happened,
Well, that's
we have to
another
look
thing that
beyond it.
to be honest, that's another thing that really frustrates me is when I have someone like Tarek always accusing me, and Steven, uh, accusing me of being a feminist. I am not a feminist, far from it. And that's where I get really frustrated, how easy a person can throw a word around and label somebody just because they may be strong enough or articulate enough to take them on. And then it
Yeah.
creates all of the enablers and people who do toxic tribalism to follow along with that agenda, for lack of a better word. But yeah, I appreciate this
Yeah,
conversation with you, Lena. I really
yeah,
do.
me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I'm glad we got to talk about it a little bit, so that people would understand Snaps more, because I think he's misunderstood, because all he has at this point is to just yell and scream. But me and him, people wonder, why in the world would Elsie Daisy get hooked up with Snaps? She's this soft-spoken person, and she talks about God, and she's more soft-spoken, where Snaps is cussing and screaming. Well, we balance each other out. What he screamed to the rooftops, I articulate, because he's done articulating. He's doesn't want to go down that road anymore. He's fed up with everybody. And because
Well,
I'm new at all of this, I'm able to speak about it. And because, I do have a dog in the fight, my son, and I have both my sons here, my family, I care about all of you guys. I want you all to be prepared for what's coming. People think, oh, nothing's coming. Everything to date in prophecy has happened, and it's going to continue. You might want to be ready for it. If nothing happens, then I'm just a crazy lady on the computer. But it's happening. Be ready.
yeah, my family thinks I'm crazy.
So does mine.
You
My
know,
mom.
all these things that you are saying, I agree with, and I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my spirit. I feel it in my heart. Um,
Yeah,
and this is why we eventually find one another in these conversations, and we want to join and we want to have these conversations. But it's been really hard for me to these a lot of these panels feel like they constantly need to school you and that they know more than you, and instead of just allowing it to be a conversation like you and I are having with one
right,
another, and just be
right.
people.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
know a
why I
lot,
think
but I
it's
don't know a lot.
well, going back to Jack really quick, I think that that's why when you see individuals like this online and how easy they can create a platform for themselves and get an agent, right? That part when I heard one of his former coworkers say that he had an agent, and the how professional all of the setup is that Jack has created for himself. This is something that he's been frustrated with me as what I thought could be as a friend to him, is letting him know, like, I can see that you have issues with wanting to be in a position of authority.
Right,
You went from a position in the military, obviously, that maybe you had a higher status or a ranking, and then you
right.
came back into the civilian world and you got a job that you did well in, got a rank, and got this false sense of authority in a job. But outside of that job, who are you? You're just Jack.
Yeah,
you know and I see him treating these panels like he's still running them like they're in union. He shuts you down like an authoritarian, not as a kind man of God. Like I always see this, and it's very confusing to me. And when he would say things to me like, "What can you do to help me?" and and
Yes.
and my response would be, why can't my conversation to you as a friend be enough for you? Because I am not interested in politics. That is not something that I believe in.
Same.
It is not
Same.
something I am interested in. And why can't just a conversation be enough? And then it sets him to be in a tone with me like what you hear him with these former coworkers. I see the pattern. I've experienced it myself. That's why you see me coming in like I do, because I'm not stupid.
Yes. And Jack doesn't get, okay, so he says he woke up in 2016, as did I, as did a lot of people. Okay. 2016 seems to be the year that the Father woke a lot of people up. Okay. The ones that were willing, that were searching for him at that time. And the difference between Jack and us is that I'm going to sound crazy, but it is what it is. A lot of us are hearing from the Father. He doesn't speak in your head; he speaks through your spirit, and he shows you things. Things I knew about the pandemic the May before. I didn't know it was going to be a pandemic. I just knew something was coming. And then in November, he showed it to me. And then when January came around and they called it, I already knew. You know, he's telling us what to do. He says, "Look at how much food you have. Multiply it by 10, and you still don't have enough. Don't stop storing food. Don't stop storing water. You're going to need it." So Jack, though, he's not hearing from the Father. He woke up. He didn't try and listen. He doesn't know his Bible. Now, I don't sit here and read the Bible every day. I was raised in the church from a baby till I was 16. At 16 years old, my parents sent me to a church camp for 2 weeks in the Colorado Rockies. When I got home, they said, "We taught you about God. It's up to you to continue." I didn't go back to church. I didn't go back till I was in my 50s. And then
Well,
I woke up.
I found my places in a tribe of individuals that hear the message and have seen the message, and it's really frustrating to see what Jack uh, has is doing with his platform and being uh, using uh, the idea of saying that he's against wars, um, things. I mean, I don't need to go down his
But he's not
script.
following the Father. He's not following
Right.
our Father. He's following the God of this world,
No,
which
he
is
wants us
Satan.
to get
He's
him
not
to.
following our Father.
No, he wants us to get him to Donald Trump. You know,
Donald Trump
For
is one
real.
of them.
I just think I
The
think every time he says it, I'm like, this is so crazy to me. And
We're
when I
told to
read,
stay out of politics. Don't concern ourselves with any of that.
I've said that many years in his chat, is that Jesus Christ warns you of the churches. He warns you of the politicians, and he
Yes,
warns you of the bank, and you're demanding your audience to make connections for you to all of those things,
yes,
and to maybe make a donation.
yes. He says to
It's
stay
it's
out of
just
all of that.
it's so hypocritical.
The churches are synagogues of Satan. He tells you that. Stay out of the church. Follow the Father. He says, don't, he says, believe in me, but follow the Father. That's what he says. But Jack is not even following, he's not following, he's following himself. He's making up a God in his own head, and I'm going to prove it to you with my video. But hey, Margot, how's it going, hon?
It's good. I just wanted to publicly make an apology to the Pixel T. I've been unkind in the past and said inappropriate things, and I just want to apologize and let her know that I'm very impressed with uh, everything that she said tonight, and her authenticity and her honesty is very commendable.
Thank you, Margot. I appreciate that. Um, I think that you've been an important aspect of highlighting what happens to a person in their experience through addiction. It doesn't matter what the addiction is, but you speaking about this journey that you've shared with Jack and how you have been able to get yourself better, but that Jack kind of took a far U-turn somewhere in his tools.
Absolutely. And
Like
I
he
think
stopped at 2. I don't know what the steps are, but he didn't make it to all of the steps. Is what my point is.
You're absolutely right. Well, and I think, there's an addiction transfer there. He's addicted to the attention that he gets on his Facebook or on his YouTube channels. He is addicted to the hope that he feels from his enablers. Um, but as people have said, he might figure it out. He might not. There's three ways out of addiction: sobriety, prison, or death. That's it. And I believe that he is an addict still. So
Well, absolutely. I mean, you can't not say that he's not when he's still talking about doing smoking weed or his nicotine or his obvious addiction to YouTube. Um, there are the addiction aspects there, but what's frustrating is hearing him manipulate other people into thinking that he has some kind of gift that he's received from his YouTube schooling to put people's lives and their heads on straight when his is still on crooked.
yes, yes. Well, another thing, anyone that's gone through an addiction knows that your level of dysfunction is just incredible. And for him to say that he never did anything to hurt his son, every time Jack says anything poor about his ex-wife, Dominic's mother, he's hurting Dominic.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you said that. So I divorced my husband. I have two boys from him, and I divorced him. We were only together 5 years because he was extremely abusive. My boys, when I left him, they were 4 and 5. I never spoke ill of him. He saw him whenever he wanted because my issue was with him. The issue was not with the boys. I would use the child support money to send the boys to see him if he couldn't afford to fly them to him. I didn't take alimony because my ass could get a job. A lot of the advice I got was from my mom. He was putting gates up in Gator Water in Florida for $40 a day. He called me up and he says, "Hey, I can get a job for MCI out in Massachusetts, but I don't have anybody that has any money and get me out there." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, because by now we're separated." So I called my mom and I told her. She said, "Tell him he's going to have $1,000 at Western Union within the hour." And I'm like, "Okay." So when she came home from work, I said, "Why'd you do that?" For 5 years, the man beat the hell out of me. She
Yeah.
said, "Because he's going to be able to pay you child support." My mom is a very smart woman. She helped him so that he can help me help our boys. And in return, I made sure he had a relationship with his boys because children need both parents.
Yes.
Just because I give birth to them does not make me their owner. They have a father, but a lot of women don't think that way.
No, and
Jack never speak ill of his.
when we put down a parent to that
You
child,
can't
that parent is a part of that child. It's abusive. And
do that,
oh, believe me,
right?
I'm not innocent of doing that in my drinking days. But fortunately, with my AA sponsor, I saw the natures of my wrongs, and I was able to make amends to my ex-husband. And by the grace of God, he did apologize to me. But when Jack says that he has never done anything to harm his son, he continues to do things to harm his son, and that's sad.
Well,
Yeah.
I would like to give you guys just a little bit of insight briefly about myself. And this is where I also have frustrated Jack in the past because my mother was an addict and died from her addictions.
I'm sorry.
And my point to him through the years, and I've had wrenches there, I've had it taken away, I've been blocked. But my point is that I've said to him in the past is that just because you have healed within yourself, you don't necessarily know the damage that your child has to heal from the years of you being in that state. It takes a lot of life experience and help for a confused child that has been through that up until adult life, and that the boundaries are necessary for them to be able to heal their mind and their body and their spirit to be ready to embrace you again into their life and to see you for the renewed self. And it always made him frustrated, and I hear his coworkers also mentioning that in these phone calls, and it sets him off.
Well, and
And
he also believes that Dominic would be proud if Dominic knew him now. No, Dominic does not approve of this. That's just another falsehood that Jack has allowed himself to believe.
well, I've
Yeah.
always said in his chats that we shouldn't even be speaking about Dominic at all.
Yes.
It's using it to virtue signal, and it's another. I'm going to use the word disgusting again. It's disgusting to virtue signal off of that child.
Yes. Hello, Charles. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Charles.
Hi,
Yes,
Charles.
I can hear you.
Well, hello, ladies. How are you?
It's nice to see you, or it's nice to hear you.
It's nice to
Good to
meet you, Charles.
You don't want to see me right now. How is everybody?
We're doing great. How are
Blessed.
you?
Yes.
I'm fine. Margot, you were talking and it reminded me, and I don't know if it's really relevant at all, but do you remember before Jack was really on YouTube and he was posting everything on Facebook and he was, he'd put a couple quotes a day on there and there were people on Facebook that would comment and I remember there was this one guy that says, Jack, I did exactly what you're doing. You need to stop now before it takes you to the wrong spot. I don't know if you remember that, Margot, but I remember specifically there was one guy that was like, I did this exact same thing. And of course, Jack, knowing all, told the guy he was full of shit like he tells everybody. But for some reason, I don't, like I said, it's not all that pertinent to the discussion, but you talking, Margot, reminded me of, kind of going back several years, how, he's been so set in what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. Um,
Charles,
rational discussion doesn't seem to matter.
No, you're right. I do remember that vividly. I actually even know who that is. I'm not going to say who it is. But he was told that by several people in AA, and he stopped attending. Um, uh, because of that. Although he has said that he completed the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. You would not know that from his actions.
Yeah. I don't understand how, I haven't like done a hand count of how many people seem to support Jack, but I really struggle with the fact that anybody that's listened to these audios, it's like, do they really support Jack or do they just kind of like watching the train wreck and acting like they support Jack? Like, how many of these people really do you think Jack is sane, think Jack is the answer, think Jack can do what he says he's going to do, etc.?
well, Charles, I think that as a person that's participated in this for 3 years and watched all of these people, but particularly Jack's location, is that there's a lot of messed up people on that hang out in these groups. So just take that with kind of a grain of salt, and you'll see that the other people that do have some common sense to add get blocked or deleted from the platform. just like it sounded like in his pattern that you guys experienced with the group chats that you created before he created his YouTube channel.
Right,
I'll
right.
agree with that. I'll also add that many people that go up on his panel are there to advertise their shows or their best interests, not Jack's. But as his numbers have increased over the last couple months, I see more of them creep up there.
It's funny because LCJC, Margot and I, and this, we have this group chat that's still ongoing that doesn't include Jack anymore. But we have a lady in there called Rhonda, and she is a theologian at heart. Um, she she's a Southern, I suspect she's like a Southern Baptist or something, but she talks a lot like you about the Father and the book and what it means, and she was able to expose Jack basically every time he talked about the Bible or God or Jesus, and I hope one day she's willing to maybe talk in your group, because I told her about you and how you both kind of respond the same way to his nonsense. And we cornered him numerous times on his actual knowledge of the Bible. And of course, this is, well over a year and a half, 2 years ago, but he never would admit that he actually read the Bible. What he, would admit to is that he's read books that other people have written about the Bible. But he does seem very devoid of actual knowledge of
You're
Scripture.
gonna see a clip, Charles, that's gonna show exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I did my Charles. I did my homework today. Did
Charles,
homework today.
speaking of Rhonda, I believe that she does want to at least visit some of these channels. I think she put that in one of our recent um,
She
conversations.
did mention giving her a link so she could watch.
Yeah, I'll give her a call and get her up here. She's
Before
a
I've
you,
known
lovely woman. She's a very
I've known
lovely.
Rhonda longer, I think longer than I've known Jack, and she is I'm no longer really a Christian. I was for my first 21 years or so, did the catechism,
Same.
I was an acolyte, all that stuff. And at some point I just decided it wasn't for me. But I've known her forever. And if ever a woman was salt of the earth, it was Rhonda.
Well, and Jack has verbally abused her and harassed her numerous times. Um, and
Right.
she's so kind that she has had a hard time blocking his phone number or getting him to stop. He can just abuse and abuse her. But she put an end to that a while ago, I believe.
And here's the thing, Charles. So, you say you're an atheist. As I said before, you're actually in a better position than a lot of believers should they stray away a little bit. But here's the thing. The churches, when you really look into things, the churches are not of the Father. They're not teaching. They're going over clips in the Bible or clips. They're going over verses in the Bible. Use the computer verses in the Bible, but they're not teaching the truth. They're not teaching the truth about this world. They're not teaching what we need to know to go through what's about to happen. And you're going to find a lot of preachers aren't going to get to go home one day, and there's no Charles, there's no rapture. I'm sorry to tell everybody that, but there ain't no rapture. Okay, that's somebody just told a big old lie back in the day, and now everyone thinks they're gonna fly up, and that ain't biblical. If you know, and I don't know the Bible front to back, but I do know quite. I know enough to know that stay your butt out of the church. Don't claim a religion. Every one of them have a demigod, even
Okay, so
Christianity. Just
I
follow
have
the
to
Father.
I have to jump in here 1 second.
Go
Um,
ahead.
I had to watch a movie. It's one of my side businesses. I view many movies. I watched this movie last week, Heterick, with Hugh Grant.
What's it called?
Heterick,
Spell it.
Heteek.
RIC.
RIC
Yeah.
Heteric. Okay, got it. Go ahead.
Hedrick with Hugh Grant, and it's uh, 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 try and watch it, and then you and I can talk about it. I'd love to know your opinion on it.
I'll watch it.
It's about two. I'll just give you a little bit of the synopsis. It's about two female Mormon missionaries that go up to his door, and he challenges some of the things that they say, and it goes from there. So
Yeah, I got hooked up with the Mormon church, and a year and a half in is when about the time I woke up and I got the hell out of that church. So yeah, I all the churches have a little bit of the truth and they have a whole lot of lies. The best bet is to stay the hell out of them and follow the Father. That is it. That is your best way to go home, or your best way to not go with the latter. So, Charles, you're in a good place because you have the choice to choose. You haven't chosen yet. You get the choice to choose. A lot of us have chosen a side. You get the choice to figure it out because you haven't chosen a side. So I respect the position you're in.
as do
And
I.
I don't think there's anything wrong with people saying they're an atheist. That just means that, you got the hell out because you saw something was wrong. Because yeah, there is something wrong in the churches. But there's nothing wrong because we are divinely created. When you understand who you are, how you were created, you did not come from a cesspool, honey. You need electricity to restart your heart. What does that tell you? You got electricity inside of you. How? Because you were created in his image. You're a light being trapped in this meat suit that he says will never enter the gates of heaven. Why? He didn't create this meat suit. Somebody did, though.
Can I
Come,
ask a
let us make
question?
man in our image. So who was that? So you
Can
got
I
to
ask
really pick things apart. But
can I ask a question?
uh,
Some of the initials used in the chat I'm not familiar with. Who is TC? Oh, is that Truth or Cop?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got you.
Another thing that I've recognized is how much he enjoys when he hears somebody say that I'm really not a Christian and I don't really follow uh, the Bible, or like recently when Wizard was up there and he says I'm not a Christian but I follow the Word, and he agrees with that. I also think that it's really interesting to see how blasphemous Jack is when he talks about how much and how good it feels when he's touching himself and all of that. you
Yeah.
know, it's just so crazy to me that
I
people
heard a
are.
clip where he said he gives himself a spiritual orgasm. I was like,
Yes,
oh my God, I didn't want to hear that.
I actually was on his stream one time talking about Kundalini, and was asking him about uh, about the difference between Kundalini and Kunda buffer, and what those terms meant, and then it kind of went sideways. For people took it more into the erotic part of the conversation, but I just think that it highlights the inconsistency of talking about being like Jesus Christ or on a Christed walk when those are not the teachings of the Christ. So it's a little confusing.
I like
Yeah.
how they his supporters try to like twist the narrative as it relates to me and Brian and Margot and Maria, and it's like I have said all along to Jack that, I don't really care if he wants to change the world, if he wants to have a flock, none of that is my business. It doesn't bother me if he does that. All I have ever said is be truthful about how you represent your coworkers and the Postal Service, because you have been lying, lying, and lying. Just be a man, own it, and move on. But somehow that turns into we have an axe to grind. We are retaliating against him. It's none of that. It's simple. Just be honest. And so these people aren't interested in honesty or what?
Well, I think another thing to piggyback what Charles said, our our chat that we have, We are usually talking about someone's trip they took, or what you did last night. I mean, we're not there to bash Jack. We compare notes. We keep each other up to date on kind of what's going on, but we're just some nice people just hanging out, enjoying each other's company.
And
I
and
don't
and,
see
and,
any of
and
you
here's
guys trying to bash him.
and we literally have 4+ years of these chats, and it took me over a half hour just to scroll to the top of them the other day. And if we were to scroll to the top of these, and if we were to take pictures of all these chats, we could post them all and it would prove almost unequivocally how much lying he's been doing to the folks that follow him.
Also, it would show our consistency.
Right.
I mean,
Yet, yet there's these people that are like, Jack says it must be true.
humorous. All
Yeah.
right, I'm
All
going to
I
bounce out
see is
again. Charles, it was nice to see you again. Thank you again, Lena, for everything that you do.
sure.
Bye.
Thank you, Margot. All I see is you guys trying. I mean, Charles, tell me if I'm wrong. If Jack were to one day call you and say, dude, I'm tired of this. I need to stop doing what I'm doing. Let's meet and smoke a doobie. You'd probably say, let's do it. Let's go.
Well,
Right?
I'd meet with him, but I don't smoke pot. But in fact, that's one of our messages today were about. I said, Jack, stop while you still have time. Let's figure it out. Everybody around you is not wrong, Jack. You're not going to get to Donald Trump. I don't understand how he thinks when he barely has 10 people that even really kind of apparently believe in him, that
Right.
he's gonna be able to convince possibly the most egomaniacal man on earth to lay down his money. Everybody around him, they're gonna lay down their money. They're gonna share everything with it. No, that's just not rational.
Well, we know that it's delusions of grandeur, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone like Jack would have some kind of way of maneuvering into a position like that, because you can see all of the snakes that surround that man to begin with, Donald Trump. So that wouldn't surprise me that he would just be used as a tool, and it wouldn't be to save the world. There's a
Right.
difference.
There are a lot more people with a lot more credibility and experience that Donald Trump would take in under his wing as opposed to Jack. Jack is like a joke. It's not, and I'm not Jack, don't get mad. I'm okay. I'm trying to be respectful. I should just said he's a joke. Jack, he's not going to take you serious. You'll never even get within a foot of the White House or wherever Trump is. It's just not going to happen.
And and
You're
the, and the funny
delusional.
and the ironic thing is, had he not gone off the rails, had he not lost his job, he literally, realistically, had almost 100% chance of getting to meet Trump if he would have stayed active in the union, worked his way up through the union, and got involved in that part of the union. We have a legislative
That.
Hey,
part of our union.
if I may, real quick, Lena. By the way, excellent job, amazing, and we will talk after. Charles, good to see you.
You too.
Yolanda, interesting conversation. That's why I let it go. Lena understands. I want to add to this, okay? Jack is just part of a web. And there's things that you and Margot and all you guys are, have been exposing. And yes, that's why you guys are like your guys are solid sources, solid whistleblowers, right, to call it, exposing this fraud. But I want the people to remember this about Jack. He's actively still trying to contact family members who don't want nothing to do with him. The predator behavior, the rape shit, is just part of it. All right. The guru shit is another thing. But again, this Jack Talcott, I see people saying, no, let's get back to Jack or Jack. This really evolves on whistleblowers exposing the optics. That's why I jumped at Yolanda. If she knew how dangerous my job was and some of the tactical plays that I have to pull to do what I do, or what Lena does, or the Truth Yo, then you'd understand. Because Jack is just a big thing. And I know a lot of this clout ride, as I call it, is Jacktales, woohoo. But Jack is just another pawn of scum out there who is scamming, frauding, and part of it even maybe more nefarious things involved. But we're, again, monitoring as we call it. Again, I just want the people to realize there's more optics to Jack than just, oh, his job and he's lying on the internet. A lot of optics. And the fact that he's still trying to contact family who wants nothing to do with him, it was on court record, right? He lied to y'all. Court record. Oh no, he just walked away. No. He went to the courts. They told him, hey, blah 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 blah. Again, he's just one of the pawns. So Lena, good job, hon. And I don't know if you saw the video I posted earlier about the zebras. Did you catch that today, Lena?
Say that again?
Did you catch the video earlier today about the zebra optics?
Yeah, I saw that.
So, yeah. So again, amazing job, hon. Interesting combo, Pixel and Charles. Good to see you. But again, Jack is an active liar, active fraud, but he's a pawn of many. And again, the DEX is full of webs that are tied together. So just remember the optics are high, and I'm very proud of the Jacktales series. As long as people were able to see the optics, decipher, discern on their own. But it's more than that. And I do encourage you to go look at Lena's channel, look at all her backup shit. We've been posting the Discord and the backup crew channel.
Well,
But anyways,
Snaps,
I'm
I
gonna
think I
go.
might
But
start playing those Marfugo videos, here in the future so that people can,
yeah.
catch up.
And like I said, we're gonna talk about some optics and play just in general. But again, keep killing it, Lena. And yeah, the optics are high. I'm out.
All right.
I would say that having known Jack as long as I have, that I would object a little bit to the characterization of Jack. I truly, I'm no doctor. I haven't read the DSM front to back, but but Jack is suffering from something. I don't think that in an honest state, Jack is anything that he's been characterized as. He is suffering from some sort of mental, religious. I don't know what it's called, but
Well,
but he's not well, and what we're seeing is a not well Jack. This is not Jack, and that's what we've all said all along. Is this is not Jack.
yeah.
Damn it,
Well,
I forgot what I was
yeah.
gonna say. I forgot. Here's what I was gonna say. Charles said these characters. Let me remind you the people who've been backing up Jack because we expose frauds, traitors, criminals. Flow State, Host State, Taylor Briggs, January 6 optics, informant optics. He supported one of the biggest pedophiles here online that portrayed a child being kidnapped, raped, and tortured with satanic ritual optics, Mr. Montegraph, pedograph. So Flow State supports Jack. TSM, The Machine Lies, another one blazing. The Machine Lies, the Muslim who on public record hits women, right? He's afraid to show you all his public records. He beats women, right? Public records. You all look it up. Here's the deal. He's another Glazing Jack Talcott one. Wizard, El Perro. Wizard fake cancer is smoking cigarettes throughout the whole deal. Made over $5,000 plus, right? Faking an illness. Bought a bicycle and some weird shit, blah blah, and a grifter, piece of shit, scumbag, but Glazing Jack Talcott. We all know Terex Optics, okay? Mr. Informant, 13 computers, dual citizenship, fucking grandpappy, fucking Masonic temple builder, fucking 33-degree Mason. Folks, the DX is full of web connections, and it's deeper than you know. Jack, like I said, Jack's part of this whole optics. And so to Charles and the postal people, appreciate you guys for sharing the optics of the truth, because it's enlightening, but it's deeper. It's so much deeper. And I just want to say, if you notice who's glazing Jack, well, most of those people glazing Jack have been under the zebra's monitoring because of their fraudulent, scammulent, traitorous piece of shit acts that they've done online. And remember, Jack has brought some questionable characters, worked with questionable characters, and the whole house thing, of course. I just wanted the people to realize, because Charles said these characters. Well, we've been monitoring these characters for quite a while, Charles, and most of these people who glaze Jack are involved in some sick, criminal, fraudulent, scamulant optics. And some of us know the lore. So, some of you guys are just getting into the game, my yard, the digital experience. But anyways, Lena, Charles, Pexel, I'll let you guys continue. That's what I came up here to say, is because I
Thank
heard
you,
you say those
Snaps.
characters.
Right.
Can I just say something really quick here, Charles? Is that the my family members, one in particular, has kind of gone through the same stages as Jack. They went from one addiction to another, and then they went to AA, and then they got addicted to Jesus, and turned and did something very similar to what Jack is doing. So you see patterns of addiction. I've even seen the change in Jack in 3 years. And I had made a statement earlier in the chat and wrote in there, if I remember correctly, Jack said he's been drinking. He drank a long time, from his youth up until whenever it was that he stopped. And depending on how intense his drinking was, the brain stops at that age. So let's say, for example, you start
Does.
drinking when you're 15 and you're at it for up until you're almost 50 years old. Your brain is still 15 years old and you're still going to act like
Yes.
you're an adolescence. So
Yes.
this is the part that's really hard, is that we're coming up here to have these conversations because of the disrespect and the dishonorable behavior towards us, and us trying to reach out and to be kind or to be supportive, and it's never seen that way. It's always rejected and rebuked unless you listen to him and let him have the floor and him school you. It's delusional. So
Yes.
that's what I have to say. But thank you
Well, let me.
for letting me come up here and share my insights with you guys. I
Well,
appreciate
stay
it.
up because there's going to be a part I want to play that I want you to speak on. So don't leave. Just sit back, sit tight. So let me just share something with y'all, okay? I don't. I know Jack has gone off. He's gone left with the whole waking up thing, okay? He woke up in 2016 like a lot of us did, okay? He went off the rails, so, and he's in the whole, he thinks he's Jesus and all that stuff, and he's gone a little bit crazy about it. The awakening is real. However, some of us were able to put it in the right perspective. We still run our households. We still take care of our children. We still hold jobs or have income coming in to take care of our children in our households. Jack is his he didn't know what to do with it. And there are a lot of people like that. Their families aren't talking to them anymore. They went a little bananas. Okay. When I started telling my family the things I was hearing, things I was finding out before anybody knew about them, to know about the pandemic the year before, and everyone's thinking you're crazy because something's coming. But I sounded like a nut, y'all. But my mom called me today and she's like, "You told us about what they were doing to the children." And I said, "Yes." I said, "The father showed everything to me, showed me a lot of things." And they didn't believe me. They won't call me, they won't talk to me. You're talking about a family. I'm Hispanic. We got together every Friday night, played cards, had menudo, hung out, very close. Our children, very close. They were angry that I moved 3,000 miles away because I was prompted to. I gave up my very successful business. I was going to be a millionaire. I had so much money. I could do whatever I wanted. I threw it all away. I gave it up to follow the Father. I moved out here.
Where are you?
Had I not done that, hold on, had I not done that, when the pandemic hit, I would have lost everything. We lived in California. It cost us $6,000 a month to live there. We moved to the middle of nowhere in Missouri. Had I not left when I was told to, I would have lost everything, because what happened to caterers out there? You have to drum up your own business. There was no catering, there was no social events, 6 feet apart. There was nothing. We would have been homeless. But
I
I
almost went to
listened.
college in Missouri.
Yeah. I listened. I moved out here and we're set. We're good to go. But my family thought I was crazy when I moved out here. They don't want to hear about God. My family, we all know about God. We're all believers, but they don't want to hear about it because when they speak to me, I convict them of their sins just because I follow the Father. It convicts them. So they don't want to talk to me. And I get that. So I leave them alone. I don't push it down their throat, just like I'm not trying to push it down any of your throats. So I'm in a way, I'm defending Jack because he woke up. He didn't know what to do with it. He's not making it up. He's not lying. He's not delusional. He woke up, but
I agree
he didn't,
too. My channel shows
he
that
didn't,
stuff as well. Yeah.
he didn't follow the truth though. He didn't follow the truth. He didn't follow the Father. He didn't try to learn the truth. He went on a tangent and thought he was Jesus and went in a completely different direction. And that's where he got lost. And I hope maybe by listening, he might rein himself back in. But I don't know. I don't know. He's in a very scary place. And if he doesn't rein himself back in, I suggest he do what Brian said, get off of YouTube, go get his job back or go flip burgers somewhere and just chill out for a while.
That's another
Because
part about the job is that I've said what I've said. I've kind of described everything as best I can without getting in trouble. And I guess for me the truth is like, okay, the Postal Service not regardless of the Postal Service situation. Well, why hasn't Jack held any other job in 7 years? I mean, that
yeah,
should tell people something.
yeah,
Well,
there's something wrong there.
there's I agree with you, Lena. I went through the same thing. I had whatever they're calling this awakening,
Yeah,
and had a lot of time to reflect and go within, and I could hear these things in Jack, and I appreciated that. But then it just took a big U-turn somewhere around there, and it just kept getting weirder and weirder. And you'd
yeah,
see these different guests coming up there, and what would happen up there, and him always reverting back to how unhappy he was and blaming other people for his issues,
yeah.
and then you try to reach out and you get that same type of anger and resentment, and
Yeah.
you
Well,
know it.
sorry to interrupt you. Uh,
No, go ahead. But I just want to
G,
say one last thing. Jeep says in here he got stuck in the mindful state,
right, and
and
Yeah.
she also says that he says he's too important for work, which
Yeah.
we have in black and white. Yet, if you're going to publicly say you're too important for work, you're going to tell all your friends you didn't really want to be at work. Why the hell are you still telling everybody about how everybody screwed you out of your work?
well,
Yeah.
he did that with me as well. I tried to let him know that I went through a very confusing time with that, but I knew that I had a responsibility. And he flashed back to me that, oh, yeah, that's right, because you're so perfect and you're so great and you do everything right, don't you, Yolanda? Right? Like,
Right,
Oh, he
right.
did that for me. He said, "Oh, I'm holier than thou. I am not holier than thou. Oh, my goodness."
Well, now
well,
that
it's just common
now
sense
that I
coming in.
now that I put one and one together, I do remember you being on his channel like maybe a week and a half ago with, I think, two other women, and he was very dismissive of you, and I think he put you to
Thank
the
you.
back or something.
Yes, it well
Okay.
that whole thing continued. The
Yeah.
audience
Okay.
didn't know about it. Nobody needs to know about it, but like this all these patterns that people are talking about, I saw it for myself, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this.
It was like there was like three of you and Jack, three women, and you were all being logical and rational, which was amazing for his channel. And he was just dismissing you guys one at a time. I remember that.
Yeah, he's done that to me off and on through the 3 years, and that's why I said I created a cognitive blind spot, and shame on me. for because I wouldn't let anybody act like that to me in my real life. So why the hell would I let somebody treat me like that online? And that's where I needed
Right?
to step up and ask the questions that I did, and you could see the frustration and the anger. And I was kind of surprised when I saw that LCJC put my name in the title of her stream for tonight. And
I know that
Yeah, because I saw what he did to you.
I'm kind of myopic in what I talk about in terms of, his employment and the union and blah, blah, blah. And it may not have anything to do with what Lena's trying to get accomplished tonight, but um, it amazes me, that some of his complaints, well, a lot of his complaints are my union wouldn't talk to me, my union wouldn't talk to me, blah, blah, blah. But then you hear these audios, and this is the person that everybody had to deal with. Would you talk to that guy? Would you do anything out of the ordinary to have a conversation with that guy? Anybody?
No.
Okay. And so it's like, there's still people on his channel that are like, yeah, it's, whatever. No big deal. It's like, come on, put one and one together, get two.
well, the reality is that when you work for under contract somewhere, particularly through the postal service, that there are rules and regulations, and you can't alter and change them for your convenience. If you want to do that, you work for yourself. And I had to learn that lesson for myself, and I work for myself because
Mm-hmm.
of those reasons. But again, you can't twist and change the rules when they're convenient for you. And that's what he also tries to highlight, is that he wants to fight all against that, but then turn around and say that he wants to participate with the person that's enforcing all of these laws on us.
Right.
It's confusing.
Well,
You
I've,
have to
I've said,
understand.
I've said all along in our group, and I think in some of these chats, he has been a walking, talking contradiction for 7 years.
Well, you
Yeah,
have to
I believe
understand,
it.
in the world that we live in, it's not, you're not turning against the Father by not talking about him. He knows that there's places where we can't. And but that's not our job. Our job is to plant seeds where we can, not to shove it down people's throats. And he knows that we can't do it in businesses. It was done by design.
Mhm.
But Jack he don't want to see that. He wants to shove it down everyone's throat. And he
Yes.
doesn't even know what he's talking about.
And telling us, the
He wants to
audience, that
feed
if people would just listen to me, right? If people would just
Yeah,
listen to me, we're
I
listening. We're listening.
I've listened to him, and the dude he's not put together with the full deck.
Well, what is it that
He's
you wanted to show me?
okay. All right, you guys stay on panel because both y'all are gonna probably want to respond. All right,
Okay.
let me share screen and hold on. Let me see where we going next. We are going to. Um,
Which, by the way, Charles, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm glad that you saw that, because that's exactly how I felt that last
Yeah, I
night.
don't watch all of his stuff, but I did for a couple of days there in a row. I was watching every day because I knew that he'd have something to say about what Snaps was releasing.
okay, now some of this is um things that I wanted to show, snaps talking with him and different things, but you guys come into play here within the next. There's only I don't know two videos I think. But we're not listening to the whole thing. We're just listening to little pieces. All right. So this one, Snaps is gonna talk to Jack.
And
Just so you know, Jacktales episode 2 is coming out very soon, Jack. I know you're excited for Jacktales. You
Mhm.
told me personally.
Y'all see that thumbs up? Now that's minor, Pixel. That's minor, okay? But he did give a thumbs up.
Snafu, I just want to clarify that I am not here today to speak about anything about trying to get Jack on the right path. And we are kindred spirits because we are both royally fucked up and need help. And I guess
You and Jack?
some of the things that piss people off about Jack is
Yes.
He'll
What
ref-
you just yes.
what he a lot of times he will reference Jesus, and he doesn't really talk about the resurrection and the blood of Jesus and all that stuff. And so if he learned more about the purpose of Jesus in that religion, then he wouldn't piss off Christians so much. Would you agree with that, Snafu?
I would agree. The shortest verse in the Bible is when Jack starts talking and being blasphemous. Jack, do you know what the shortest verse in the Bible says?
I would agree that you both
Jesus
need
wept.
help.
There you go. When Jack tries to talk God, Jesus is weeping.
Oh,
Yeah,
snafu! I
Jacktales.
answered your question. Recognize I answered your question. Your Bible trivia.
You surprised
Okay.
me. You did know a common
Okay, now pay close attention to what's going to go on right now.
knowledge to shortest
Right.
verse. Good for you.
If you actually gave
Okay,
me a
now tell me what John
snafu,
3:16 says. Just go for it.
John 3:16.
Who does not know John 3:16?
Is that the one? So he loved the world so much he gave his son. He gave his son to the world. Or
Good.
For God so loved his only begotten Son that he professes to know the Father. He wants to be a teacher. He thinks he's I don't know what, but
This is what
Yeah.
we're wanting you to do. Get in the doctrine, brother. Yes,
Mhm.
bros, I agree.
Revels?
If he
Are
started
you
studying
kidding? No,
and
he
learning
needed to keep
doctrine instead of
reciting
making
it.
doctrine up, people like Tommy and myself would probably be a little more less agitated.
Yes, and see, I feel like I would agitate more if I could find Jesus, and I understand that all of the coolest people.
do you guys know who she is?
I
That's
think that
Rose triple seven.
isn't she hanging out? Isn't Tommy hanging out with her or something?
That's Rose triple seven. These guys all go back a long time with each other with this YouTube paneling stuff.
I've never seen her. I'm just asking because she wants to make clear she doesn't want to be in opposition of him, maybe because she knows his wrath. I don't know.
She's in it deep with these YouTubers. She's had other YouTubers stay with her, and Aluma Tommy is in her home right now. So she's
Yeah, that's what I
she's in
thought
it
I saw
deep.
as Illuma Tommy staying with her.
Yeah, you want to talk
Oh,
about
really?
digital experience? Optics are high. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I just wanted to show when you were talking about him knowing the Bible or what have you, everybody knows that verse. That is the one thing that everybody does know, even children can cite that verse. Okay. So let's get rid of that one. All right. This is 30. Okay. Be a little patient here.
So where are you? Where are you at? Oh, never mind.
Okay. Okay.
Something that many people are going to criticize for sure. But welcome,
You're
snafu.
safe. I got big news today, Jack. You're safe. I got big news, bigger news than anyone could bring you today.
Beautiful. That's what I was hoping to honor.
Yeah. So get this. As soon as your live is over, I'm starting a new series, and it's Ducktales. Ducktales, woohoo! It's called Jacktales: The Untold Stories of Jack Talcott. I got a hold of your union president rep, and after your stream, we're going to listen to what they have to say about you, and we're starting a series.
He puts his hands together, big old smile.
Of why you lost your post office job, and
He's bowing. He is so happy.
so much more. So as soon as Jack, if you want to actually direct your audience after this to my channel,
He's ecstatic. Ecstatic pixel. Look at him.
it will stream as soon as you're done. And you know who it is. It's your president rep. And he says that you ruined your own career.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Beautiful. This is fucking amazing.
Can you pause it? So at this
Excuse my
moment,
French.
at this moment,
I told you what I was going to.
at this moment, he thinks that it's going to be JR. And JR is a nice guy, not well spoken. He suspects that JR is going to make a fool of himself, so he's happy. Then he finds out it was me.
Well, he's fucking ecstatic. Excuse my French, everybody.
Yeah.
But he's ecstatic.
Do Jack?
Where?
I haven't uploaded it yet. It's still privatized. You're done. I was going to upload it. I mean, I could upload it. I could schedule it. But you know who it is. Either way, as soon as you're done, they're going to do it. And it's not just Charles or Chemo. This new series is going to be Cast of Jack coming to chat with the crew and you. And this episode 1 airs tonight. It's your union president that said.
That was not me. That was God and technology.
Mr. Snaps is a blessing in disguise for sure. And listen to Jack.
You could hear his connection was kind of failing.
It was all from God.
So praise God indeed.
Praise God indeed, Pixel.
Snafu, I'm sure he'll return again. He likes to talk. But for sure, if Mod's willing or haven't yet, share the crew. But here, actually, even better, Snafu, when it's scheduled, yes, I will definitely redirect viewers to your channel, your stream, so you can talk to an old acquaintance of mine. That would be absolutely amazing, brother.
Absolutely amazing.
Okay, so my question that I had earlier, then he encourages all of this and brings it all to himself.
Are you vindicated, Pixel?
Well, I knew it was all baloney, and how convenient for him to tell me that I was delusional and that I didn't know what I was talking about when there's the evidence is right there. So
yeah. Yeah.
It's like I've posted a few times, LCJC, and what Abraham Lincoln said. It's much easier to tell the truth, so you don't have to keep track of your lies. And he lies so much that he contradicts himself so much that it's amazing that anybody still listens to him or gives him credit for anything.
Well, when he was upset with me, that was something he was responding to me like he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And I finally stopped for a second and I said, you probably really don't remember. And I was referring to that moment you were talking about, Charles, the way he responded to me and the way he treated me that day. And I was really genuinely confused and surprised and just realized he really didn't remember. And then he even mentioned, well, maybe we need to play back the video or whatever. And I just thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm not that invested that I want to go back and look for a timestamp for you. I remember what you did. And if you don't, then let's just move on. If you want to apologize, then apologize. If you don't, not a big deal. But I don't want to keep on harping and focusing on this. And then it's just gotten weirder and weirder every week since these calls have been released. You even hear a different tonality to his voice on these streams. It's just, it is what it is.
Jeeps just posted that she got blocked for telling the truth, which is true, because Jeeps was in the chat about a week ago talking about how Jack had said that and had sent a text to his mom about being the Christ or Jesus, or I don't remember the exact language. And she got modded out of the chat room, and then she sent the link of the actual of Jack's show to LCJC, and you remember posting it on your show, Lena?
Say that again.
When Jeep sent you the
play that. We're gonna
huh?
play that right now.
Oh,
We're
okay.
gonna play that again.
So you're going through the contradiction that is Jack.
Yes. Well, I wanted to replay Jeeps in case people missed it.
Why doesn't Jeeps come to the back room? I want to hear her.
I told you, Jeeps, you were going to get vindicated too.
Come back here, Jeeps, and get vindicated.
Oh,
I'm trying to find the part where he you guys keep chit-chatting over there. I'm trying to find the part where he totally contradicts himself, and he reads.
So roughly, where are you in Missouri?
I'm in near I'm about an hour and a half from Springfield.
Okay, I was going to go to college in Lexington. There's a military academy there that I was going to go to. And I spent 2 weeks there, and I decided that I didn't want my parents to have to pay for my college, and I enlisted in the Army instead.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump down because I'm going to get ready for bed. But thank you, Lena, for allowing me the opportunity to come up and have this conversation with you. And
oh, so nice talking with you.
You know, just helping bring the reality to the situation forward instead of the imaginary world of land of make believe of Talcottia. You know, this. Every time I hear it makes me. It's crazy to me. But you know,
does anybody that really wants to be taken seriously say things like "Welcome to Talcottia"?
Or another thing that I thought was interesting is always referring to himself in third person.
Right. Right.
I've also picked up on that through the years. But thank you, you guys. Take care, and I'll see you guys around. But you will no longer see me over there at Jack Talcott's. I will no longer be participating in
Smart
anything over
move.
there. Yeah, I go through my stages with that. I unsubscribe and I don't go back over there, and then I get sucked back into the entertainment value of distraction.
And his moderators are just ruthless, vicious attack dogs.
Yeah, there's a lot of we call it here online toxic tribalism, and there's a lot of that on here. But take care, Charles. Take care.
Thank you.
Lena,
Thank you.
Blessings.
Likewise.
And God bless your boys, and they will be in my prayers from now on. So take care.
Nice talking to you. So Charles, I'm so sorry. I had the clip pulled up. I had all the clips lined up, ready to go, right on the markers and everything. And then I backed out to change the time, and I didn't save it. So I had to go back the last half hour before I went live and find all of the timing. And I missed that. And it was where Jack is yelling at you, and he's saying that you were calling him or you were texting him, and he calls you a name. He says he doesn't call nobody names. He's clearly calling you names, or called you a name, and then but then he says, but you're his brother, he loves you. And I'm like, what? I mean, total flipped. I mean, and then he shows Snap. He brings up Hebrews something, but then he reads a completely different doctrine. And I had this whole clip where Snaps is literally talking nice with him, and they're going over scripture, but Snaps is gently telling him, Jack, that's not scripture. You can't say it that way. You can say it this way, but you can't say it that way. You turn the scripture around. He is being so loving and so gentle, and I'm so angry that I missed that clip. And this is they went on for a good, I think, like 15 or 20 minutes. And Snaps is just being very loving and kind to him, and he's loving it. And but he didn't like that Snaps was correcting him. He was trying to walk circles around Snaps, and Snaps wouldn't let him, but in a gentle way. So people think that Snaps is mean and cussing all the time. When he deals with Jack on a one-on-one, he's completely different. And I think because he knows that there's something wrong with Jack, that he's,
Right.
his noodles aren't fully cooked. So I get it. But I
Yeah,
wanted
so
to say that.
that's just part of the walking talking contradiction that is Jack. He's been begging me uh to have a conversation with him or just to communicate with him. So the last few days, if I think about it, I'll send him a message and just say, Jack, there are a lot of people that want to root for you, but you're not the guy they knew. And you can say you haven't changed all you want, but you have changed. I don't know how you go through life with dozens and dozens of people who all loved you, gave you tons of credit, tons of respectability, that all at the same time, you'd have to be such a conspiracy theorist to believe that everybody just got an email or text message one day and said, "Hey, we're done with Jack." That's just not what happened. And
Yeah.
so it's like how he is so convinced that he's right, that everybody else is wrong. So I started sending him a message saying, Jack, snap out of it. All of us would be willing to help you if you wanted to, try and get back to the post office, if you just want to get your life back. Even his son,
Yeah.
I haven't talked to his son about this, but I think it's safe to assume that his son wants no more to do with this Jack than the rest of us. And maybe if he was the old Jack, his son would still be talking to him and hanging out with him. I don't know. But
Yeah.
lately I have been like sending him a message, and he sends me one back telling him that my opinions of him are wrong. And it's like, Jack, it's not opinions. All I have to do is use your words against you. I mean, we have it in black and white. Yeah, it's really the craziest thing. It's very Trumpian. It doesn't matter what you say, it's not going to be held against you as far as you're concerned. And the people that support you as far as they're concerned. It's wild times, man. Wild times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead. Well, I want to see if this is anything here. He's talking to Snaps again.
There. Snafu.
Jack.
Were you joining with something else? Did you get it posted yet?
No, well, I was just curious, like I could put it up right now and just schedule it. I didn't know what time you were gonna stop. So this series, I just so you know, we're gonna do it like it's gonna be in a series. First is the who this person is to you today, episode 1. Second will be their optics of why you got fired from the post office and blah 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 in their opinion. And then down the road we will do an open panel. I still will debate on if at that time you will be able to talk to him or not, but we'll go from there. But yeah, as soon as you're done tonight, I'm gonna post it up. I could schedule it right now, that way they could see the thumbnail and you could transfer. But it really, as soon as you're done, I'll just post it. You could just, if you want, post my channel, whatever. But I think you'll find it quite interesting. Now, I did want to ask you something. I learned more information that your father was in that Discord that Margot and all these people supposedly were in, right? So how come we don't hear too much about your father?
I've spoken about my father before. He's not
Okay.
been an active part of my life ever.
Okay. No, that's fair. I didn't know he was in that Discord that you blamed all of them, Margot and your post office friends, that your father was in the actual Discord with them.
Yep. Thanks.
He's acting like a confused, lost child. That's how a child acts, with the confused look and the brushing of his beard and the all confused and dazed. Like what? Why is he, why is he talking about that? I'm so confused. I mean, there's definitely something wrong with him.
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah. Even my father offered no support. Witnessed the
Okay. I don't want to hear his BS. Okay, Jeeps. I know we played it before, but we're going to do it again. Since we're just telling a little bit of the truth, we're gonna listen to the return of Jesus, because he called Jeeps a liar. Jeep said, because I said that Jack thinks he's Jesus. Tarek went on his channel and said, well, do you think you're Jesus, Jack? And he goes, oh no, I've never said that. And Tarek says, are you sure you never said that? I'm paraphrasing Tarek. I'm not being specific here. And Jack says, I've never said I was Jesus. All right, y'all ready? Oh, and then so they called Jeeps a liar. Okay, another liar.
because I'm gonna let you in on a little bit more about Jack. You know, I've been really self-evaluating and trying to consider. Hoping this comes through. We'll see how it looks. I don't know. I'll do my best with this, but this
That's why I say Jack had these photos made of him. I think he lied to me and said that somebody else made him. He didn't know. He had these made of him because he thinks he's Jesus.
was the image I sent. It's text I sent to my
I truly love you and want you to consider this thought process. I was asking myself, am I crazy for thinking that my whole life was preparing me to play the role of the return of Jesus here on earth and to lead the world to peace and reforms? I am just like everyone else. I hope we can talk again soon. I trust that eventually everything will make some sense and we will be able to blah 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 together. He's talking to his mommy. He's talking to his mummy. All right, let's listen.
mother yesterday afternoon. Okay, so this is an honest man being honest to his mother, a woman who he deeply cares about.
But somebody that will call someone else a liar when she told the truth, right, Jeeps?
Respects. I was asking myself, am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking that my whole life was preparing me to play this role of the return of Jesus here on earth and to lead the world to peace and reforms? Am I crazy for believing that?
Want to have an attitude? We can fix an attitude too.
Fix it. What you gonna do?
Step out of the truck or I'm breaking your.
Hold on. I was watching a police video earlier. All right, Jeeps, you want to get up here? Because he's a liar. Charles, you got anything to say about that clip?
Well, I mean, it's consistent with the stuff he's said in our chats. It's consistent with the stories I get when he was talking to management during his grievance process, things he said to the doc. He's admitted to saying that stuff to the doctors because I had heard it through somebody else chat. And I said in our chat, I said, Jack, did you really tell the therapist that you're not qualified to pass judgment on a Christ? And he admitted in our chat, yeah, I did that. They're not. No therapist is qualified to pass judgment. I said, then why the hell are you even bitching about losing your job? I mean, you had to get a note saying you could come back to work, and why not just move on and stop bitching about it? And he never could have a good answer about that.
Yeah. Well,
And Jeeps, I agree with you, Jack. I don't know if Jack owes you the apology or those mods owe you an apology, but you're right. You are owed an apology. And that's the only thing
yes.
I've ever said all along is that Jack, uh, I wish you would apologize to all the people you've been defaming because you have named names. You have said JR, you have said Wanda, you said Terry, you've said me, even though I had nothing to do with your grievance procedure. You brought up a lot of people you complained about, bitched about. None of them made the decision for Jack not to show up to work. None of those people made those decisions. In
No, it was
any
all him.
industry, any business, if an employee doesn't show up to work, they're eventually going to lose their job, regardless of the circumstances.
Yep. Yep. You're right about that.
The fact that it
And
took him almost 3 years before they let him go, to me, shows you like almost entire, okay, 2.5 years of not going to work before they finally got him off the rolls. That's to me, that wouldn't have happened in any other industry
no,
or in any other
no.
business. They would never have taken 2.5 years to get rid of somebody that didn't show up to work.
Yeah. How long did Jack work there before all that happened?
I think it was 18 years.
Oh my goodness. He just threw all that away? That's a long time.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
If he wouldn't, I don't know what the switch was. Like Brian had mentioned, from about 2017 to 2018, he was sober and being the normal Jack. He just wasn't drinking. But if something happened in I would say spring, early 2018, where he went from being the guy that wanted to be the mindfulness coach to the guy that wanted to also preach Jesus and stuff. And
Yeah.
and
He didn't
that's
know what
when
to do with
everything
himself.
switched for everybody. It wasn't the not drinking. It
Yeah.
was the he went from being the Jack we knew to this. He wanted to preach to everybody.
Yeah. He didn't know what to do with himself. He woke up. There's the woke culture, which is LGBTQ and all that garbage. That was to distract, but there's the awakening. He woke up. He didn't know what to do with it. And he didn't have a sounding board. A lot of us found somebody else that was a sounding board for us that make us sound, make us stay grounded. Somehow he just flew up like a little fairy and just started running the rampant. And he made everyone think he's crazy. Because in a sense, he is because he can't ground himself, you know? I mean, it's
Yeah,
sad because I do know that he woke up. He said it happened to him in 2016. We all did. It was quite, I don't want to say scary, but it's an experience, Charles. It's one hell of an experience. It's amazing, but you have to be able to rein yourself in. And he didn't know how. For some reason, he couldn't do it. But what happened to him is real. Just try and give him that. What happened to him was real. He didn't know what to do with it, and now he's off the rails. He's off the reservation, they say. If he can rein himself in, I mean, the awakening is an amazing, beautiful thing. And we sound crazy to all of y'all that aren't believers, and even to believers that are not awake, we sound crazy. But the Father is talking to us. He is telling us what's going on. He's telling us what's going to happen in the future. He's telling us people don't want to believe us. They think we're crazy.
yeah, and I'm not. I got no problem with people that have faith.
Yeah,
But with Jack, it's a little different because here you have a guy that doesn't really go to church, has admitted to not even reading the Bible. Um,
yeah.
how is anybody supposed to take that seriously?
He doesn't know the Father, but he woke up and he should have reined himself in, but he doesn't even know what's happening to him.
Yeah,
And talk about going
he's
to
definitely in for a penny, in for a pound. he is so stuck in this idea that he has no ability to even think for a second. Well, maybe I need to reevaluate this.
I feel bad for him. And I know Snaps thinks that cupcake. I feel bad for him because I get where he started, but where he went up is way, way off the rails. And it's if somebody like me cannot rein him back in, nobody's going to. Because I
No,
think
I
I'm pretty patient, very tolerant, I'm very forgiving, and I can talk to him, but he will not let a woman teach him. That's his problem. Now, if one of those guys up there were to talk to him, if Steven, like Steven, I mean, he's off the rails too, but whatever. If one of those guys on there really understood the awakening and were awake, range him back in, they can pull him in, but he will not listen to a woman.
well, I'm convinced that Steven uh, is playing a person every time, and it's just all humorous for him.
Okay, Steven, let me explain Steven to you. Steven says he's a fallen angel, which means a fallen angel inhabits him. He has a demon inside of him. I just go with me. You either believe it or you don't. The way he speaks, if you look at his channel, look at his content. I've looked at his content. I've talked to him a few times on his panel, and I learned to navigate my way around him when I was on his panel. Don't go against him. Don't argue. Just listen. Act like you're, believing what he's putting down. Just go with it. And then I went and listened to his content, and the guy really believes he's a fallen angel, and he believes that when the time comes and it's time he believes that he's going to be able to get out of here and fight his way through to get out of here. He has
How
no
can
clue
he,
what's coming.
how can him and Jack
Steven is
coexist
lost.
then?
Steven is lost. Yeah. So Jack will listen to a believer, but he doesn't have any of them on his channel. I've listened to a lot of them. I've listened to Peru, and I've listened to a few of them speak, and it's just nope, nope. If they were awake, they wouldn't be speaking the way that they do. They wouldn't be having the conversations that they do. Their their language would change. They wouldn't be so apt to attack people. I'm not trying to attack Jack. I'm trying to help rein him in. And I see that I don't see that you guys are attacking him. I see that you're trying to pull him, like get him back into reality because you think something's wrong with him, which it
Well,
is true.
well, the point,
But
the point, the
he
point of
doesn't.
the point of the audios were not to attack him; they were to hold him accountable.
Yeah,
And and all he's done is double down, and I guess whatever. I mean, I'm going to move on. Although I am finding this fun a little bit. I'm a little scared of whether I'm going to be able to just let go or not. But he's just doubling down, and I guess as long as a handful of people keep cheerleading him on, it's just the way it's going to be.
yeah, and it just takes one. It just takes one. And he's got a handful that tell him, "You're good, Jack." And then he said, "Oh, LCJC says because I don't know the Bible, then I'm not a believer." I never said that. I never said anything like that. Jack. It's not about that. Jack is not even following the Father, period. He professes him, but he doesn't follow him, period. He's following something else. And it doesn't matter if you know scripture or not. He's not even in the realm of the vicinity of where believers are or the awakened ones are. He's just lost. But that because, like you say, if he has a few people that are stroking his ego, then he's going to keep going on with this whole guru thing that he's on. Pixel says hold on. Let's just highlight that. He was pissed at me too, along with Tarek. These pixels be too bright. Yeah, Tarek, we had an agreement that he would not speak about me because I didn't never say anything ill about the guy. He said he wouldn't bring me up on other channels. But as soon as my live's over, he's over there talking to Jack and asking him all the questions that I had said. And I'm like, why are you trying to prove me wrong? I'm just reacting to a video. But
I
Derek
think
has to go and prove everything wrong. He has to go and stick up for he's against me and Snap. So then why does he come on my channel? Why does he want to be on my panel? If he's gonna go against me, why bother talking to me? Go do
I,
your
I don't
thing.
I don't I don't know if Tarek's against you. I don't know Tarek from Adam, but from what I have seen so far, my view, Tarek likes to stir the pot. Tarek likes to
Yes.
say bullshit just to get attention, but he also likes to be Switzerland at the same time.
Yes, my perception exactly. And he didn't say my name, but he's asking all the questions that I had spoke on. And that really upset me because I'm like, dude, if you're gonna constantly, question the things that I talk about, why are you even wanting to be my friend? Why would you want to come up on my panel? Because my panel is for people that are we all think alike, we all believe alike, or we can get along with other people. Like I don't have to sit here and pound your head because you're a atheist.
Hmm.
We have topics we can talk about and we can share. We're not screaming at each other because we don't believe what one another says. We can take it for what it's worth and move on. But those people can't. Those channels fight, and I don't like those channels. Tarek wants to create narratives. Yeah, I was really friendly with Tarek, and I didn't have anything to say about him, and I'm not too jazzed that he's doing what he's doing with me. And then he wants to come up and have a debate with me or ask me a question. He just wants to ask me a question about something I said. I don't need to defend the things that I say. If I say it, I mean it. If I make a mistake, I'll apologize. But I'm not going to have somebody come up and oppose me on my channel. Go make your own channel and talk crap about me. But don't come up on my channel thinking I'm going to let you sit here on my channel and interrogate me. It's not going to happen. There we go. So, did you like the Talcott tales tonight? Did you like all the truths that came out?
You talking to me or the audience?
Yeah, everybody. You too.
Well, I lived it, so I'm cool. I can't say it enough. All I want is for Jack to one day stop blaming it on everybody else. Just
Yeah.
do what you say you want to do, and quit trying to blame shit. Your situation is because you chose it. You wanted to go be a guru. You want to go change the world. Just say that. Stop blaming everybody for your situation. That's all I care about. That's the whole point of the whole Jacktales is to just set the record straight. Stop, even though those people are primarily faceless to the listeners, they're still people. They still hear about it. And it ain't fair to them that Jack keeps bitching about people that did everything they could to keep him in his job. And he did everything he could not to stay in his job.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that 100%. Does anybody else want to come up on panel? Have any last minute words? Anything you want to
Jeeps,
say?
Jeeps, Jeeps, Jeeps,
Jake, get up
Jeeps,
here, Jake.
Jeeps.
You will never get closure with a narcissist. It's best to just walk away and go no contact. Jack's never going to get it. You're
That's
right.
probably true.
Yes, I believe so. Believe it. You like the vindicating Planet X? I told you I did my homework. I just wish I didn't forget about that one with Charles because that was a good one. That was a good clip. You would have loved it. Uh-oh, it's trouble. What's up?
The optics are high. So I just want to
Yes, they are.
say the last words, Lena, amazing job again. We'll talk later tonight or tomorrow, whenever. PX, good job. The crew, the glue, each and every one of you is the truth, yo. I do want to say, yes, accountability is a big thing, Charles. I'm in the same boat as you. You guys have experienced Jack. We've experienced Jack in the digital experience, and I kind of knew the background because I felt violated reaching out to a family who wanted nothing to do with him, but they worked with me, and same with you guys, as people who wanted to whistleblow or be sources and say, hey, we will go to the DEX and show the truth, of some very odd optics. And we've gone from predator to liar to anger to believing he's Jesus to blasphemous. The optics are high with Jack. I do want to say, everyone, just make sure you're in the crew Discord or the backup channel if we get hit. Make sure you watch Lena's series, the Marfugal series. It's very important if you don't know. And I want to say for you newbies, okay, and Lena, you're not necessarily a newbie, but you are. And I love how you guys are cheering Jeeps to come on. Jeeps will not probably be on. Jeeps is not a panelist. As I say, she's a YouTube groupie that's been in the chats for years, but she's not a panelist. I didn't know if you guys knew that. Jeeps and Yolanda, you were vindicated by yours truly, LCJC, putting her Truthio out. And Charles, I appreciate the Jacktales series, and you never know, the case could be opened, reopened, closed. Like I said, we're winding down. We're all gonna witness things that happen, and I just don't like liars, frauds, criminals, traitors, or predators. And Jack fits in multiple lists on that thing, but I don't hate the guy. Am I trying to say he needs to be accountable? Yeah. Do I have bigger targets than Jack? Absolutely. And my whole thing is tonight was just a show that Lena aligns with the Truthio, no matter, again, I say even my enemies have a Truthio. So Lena, you did an excellent job tonight. Thank you for doing you as usual. Charles, thanks for being truthful, putting your Truthio out, letting the people understand your part and other people's parts, and tell your coworkers and all the other people you're right. When Jack's trashing some of you guys who have done nothing but help the man, that's not okay. There's two narratives to the story, and I am in the process. I text you, Charles. I text Jack today. I didn't know you guys were texting, and that's cool. But we do still want to set up the panel, so let your people know and get at me, because I told Jack today I would. He wanted to do it today, and I even talked to Lena behind the scenes, and I was like, we're gonna have to schedule this. We're not just gonna do it when he wants. But Jack is ready, so if you want to let your people know, we will
Yeah,
schedule a panel.
unlike Jack, all the people that would be on the panel have a life and they work for a living. So they, it has to be
Exactly.
scheduled.
Exactly, and that's what I told him. I wrote, there's some optics with Jack. Like I said, that people don't understand. Lena does. I talk to him, but I'm not gonna fucking glaze him. And like I said, all those people who glaze him, folks, they're pretty negative shit with all of them. TSM beats women. Fucking Tarek, the optics on Tarek. Fucking Wizard scamming people for over $5,000 with illnesses. These people are bad. Like, and again, it's funny because I really appreciate people like you and Lena. And Lena, the reason she's so, I call it sheltered, is for protection in so many ways. But that's why even simple stuff like, hey Jeeps, come on panel. She just don't know. And so, and you're
Mhm.
getting new to, you're introducing to some of these people. Some of these people have watched the lore, as I say, and I did put out a video recently. I don't know if Lena wants to just at least put the link in the comment. The zebras are deep. The zebras are real whistleblowers, real journalists, and real fishers of men. And so I'm proud that Jacktales was part of our optics in play, but it's not just that. And same with Lena. So Lena, love you. Good job. And Charles, commend to you for at least telling the people the truth, yo. Because again, it's accountability for Jack. It's not that I hate the guy. He needs to be accountable. And the more unaccountable he is, the more predatorial he is. My opinion.
Yes, I agree. Well, thank you everybody for all your awesome comments. Y'all making me smile. Because this was an awesome stream, y'all. I went and did some homework. Usually I have all my ducks in a row beforehand and everything. But he pissed me off when he called you a liar, Pixel, because he did the same to Jeeks the other day, and he pissed off the wrong woman. And I'm not trying to be mean to you, Jack. We're just exposing the truth. And if anybody wants to go out there and say, oh, Lena said this and Lena said that, I'm just giving my narrative of what I'm seeing. That's all. I'm not trying to prove Jack to be a monster, but Jack, you need to pull the reins in and get back in the barn because you done got wild. All right. That's it. That's all I gotta say. Charles, thanks for coming up, Snaps. Thanks for backing me up and telling me what's up. Cause yeah, I don't know all the players. I'm a baby. I'm a little baby
Oh,
streamer, y'all. I'm new at
you
all
did
this stuff.
amazing. You did amazing, and we'll be talking. And I like I said, don't get too hug a buddy, fuck a buddy with this shit. All you motherfuckers out there, I real recognize is real in the end. But if you even knew, like what I do to expose what we've exposed, the people working with us, the active threat still going on, people literally trying to kill me, other
Yes.
whistleblowers, like real talk. Real motherfucker talk. Oh,
He's not
Snowden
just
shit.
saying it. There's
Like
proof.
we're talking big tech. We're talking this digital, and that's what I said, Lena. I didn't know if you were gonna play my video or just at least put the newest video in the link because it shows
Here,
the
I'll put the
zebra
link
optic.
in.
Yeah,
When you see
whatever you want
zebras,
to do.
when they talk about child trafficking and you see
Everything.
zebras,
Just
it's
the zebra
because of
optic.
snap. There
Whistleblowers.
you go.
This shit's
Something
real.
to
The
watch
DA
after
is
we
real.
leave.
And Lena, I'm proud of you. And again, sources, people who want to tell the truth, Charles, Margot, like that's what I said. Jack is lying. We've learned predatory optics, and the unaccountability is what upsets me with Jack, because I deal with bigger fish on a daily basis, real shit. And Jack, this guru bullshit, and we see the guru bullshit going on with the Wizards, the Pauls, the OT, even OTW's toothless bitch ass. He doesn't know where he stands. They all stand on they mock God, they deny God, and Charles, look, I tell people, look, I don't have to be the same religion, same anything. I worked in the prison ministry with all the religions. And again, what we know as humans equals a grain of sand to the ultimate truth of truths compared to a sand of beach of all sand. We don't know. Proverbs 3:5. Trust the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. Folks, we're recognizing when we're in the end, there is a wheat and tear, and the world stage is being set, and there is a beast system in play, and this social media bullshit is a corral. It's been a corral. This digital experience shit is ran by CEOs, corps, and everyone is put in position for reasons that most you motherfuckers couldn't even think of. And what I've been doing is I've been putting my life on the line. Lena's been putting her life on the line. But most of all, we've been standing for God, nation, country, and against fraud, scams, pedophiles, criminals, traitors. And I want to say this publicly, Margot, I love you. And I am glad you helped with Jacktales. Woohoo! And I hope, Margot, and this is just from me to you, that there's other optics that are being looked at faster as well. And I'm sure Lena and others hope
Because
so
there's
too.
people that are going
But
into hiding because of what's going on.
yeah, it's getting real. But that's all I want to say. Again, Lena, you killed it tonight, and just give me a call later tonight,
You
tomorrow, whenever. But all you motherfuckers, just remember the
don't
truth,
say
the
that.
crew. Hey, all you mother fudgers, whatever. Hey, you know what? No,
Don't
I'm gonna
say
say these
that.
guys have supported. Hey, I'm gonna
Not
be
on my
real. Most of these
channel.
people,
Oh,
80,
for
90%
goodness
of you guys
sake.
in your chat. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, 80, 90% of these people in your chat. All right, and Charles don't know this. He's not part of this statistic, but 80, 90% of the
I
people
know.
right here have either discredited or gone after me or supported traitors, criminals, frauds, and pedophiles
I
trying to
know.
play me stupid. And that's why I said, Leah, I love you because you're loyal and you understand. You're in the foxhole. And you zebras, man. Hey, that video is real. But Lena, amazing job. Charles, thank you for putting your truth, in the digital experience because Jack needs to know it ain't a game. It ain't a game.
I
And
know.
I think many of you
Charles, this
people,
all sounds fantastical and everything, but it's real.
it's
It's
real.
real.
And
People
it's a
are in
matter.
hiding.
She's
They're
right.
just
We actively have
exposing stuff.
people trying to kill us right now. Actively have people trying to. I mean, you guys saw my last video too. Fucking little rat blood crazy motherfucker. I got 2,000 Satanists fucking on. You think these motherfuckers like that we're exposing criminals, pedophiles, racketeering rings, big CEO tech company? Jack Talcott's a small story of fraud, scamming, guru bullshit compared to the whistleblowing and journalistic
It was
value of
still a
what I've
truther video,
done.
but
Even Mad Mystic out there's done. Other people who are compromised. Mad Mystic, I feel, is 1,000,000% correct. I tell her every day. I not say she's a lone zebra out there? Absolutely, and many others out there. The world. This is bigger than me, but it's the truth, yo. So, Lena, love you. Charles,
Good to see you, bro. And Jack, you should be accountable, you piece of shit. Like you yelled at me today. He yelled at me today, that little shit. So,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah,
All
and
right.
I'm glad Yolanda and Pixel were vindicated by ULC. So, good job.
Like them. I know, no cupcake. That's okay. I like them.
Yeah, that's why I know hug a buddy, fuck a buddy. See, you're getting it. Don't. She's telling me not to cupcake, folks. She's getting there. All right, guys, I'm
Because I
out.
like
But
people.
yeah, have a good night, Lena, and Charles. You have a
All
good
right.
night, bud.
Night. Night.
Good night.
Night, everyone. Thank you for coming to my channel. I enjoyed having everybody up here. All y'all were awesome. I had such a great conversation with some of you. I didn't mean to cry when I talked about, my kid, but it is what it is. So y'all have a great night. Thanks for coming and watching and for all your support and your beautiful words to me. And y'all go get on Jack's ass and bring him back down to reality. Put him back in the barn. He's gone crazy. He's out there bucking with the donkeys. He's turning into a donkey. All right, love y'all. Be safe. Go get food and water and protection. Love y'all. Bye.